Mortgage One with Mortgage One Studios, Russ Clark and Dean Weingart. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
It's hump day.
It is.
It's Wednesday.
It is.
Carl's favorite day.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It's his favorite
It's
day.
harder to keep track when you're retired. My brother says it's hard to keep track of the days when there's 6 Saturdays and a Sunday.
You know, my wife had to have she had an issue with a pituitary gland or something. They were checking out, no problems, but had to go to a neurologist. And part of that neurological check was a cognitive check.
Oh, what day is it?
Exactly. And what is today? And there was a 50 or not 50, maybe 20, 30 questions to check and see if you were aware.
Who's president?
Well, and when they were asking like, what day is it? I'm thinking like, what day is it? I mean, I fill out my forms every morning, so I know it's the 11th,
right?
Because I just did it. But if I wasn't doing that, how would I know?
Well, exactly. And this show helps keep me on track. But it's correct. Sometimes I have to look and see.
Look, Helen doesn't have to be anywhere or do anything.
Right,
she volunteers,
exactly.
She does some stuff and all that. But to say, well, if you don't know what day it is, that's a check off. And if you get so many check offs, then you've got cognitive problems. I'm like, boy, BS.
Yeah.
That's not fair, man.
Well,
that's not good.
It's a cultural thing.
You get check offs because you didn't know the exact date. And I wonder if walking down the street, how many people that you talk to would actually know the specific date?
Well,
the day's August 11th. Wednesday. And I think
I
it'd be
don't
different
know.
out in the foothills than it would.
It is different. I think it's different to know the day of the month
than
it is the day of the week.
Well, and yeah, maybe, but they were asking for the day of the month.
Right.
So if I went to an RV park around the pool where it's happy hour, would any of them know it?
That's a good question.
I think the chances of
some would.
Oh gosh, yes, some would. But most not because they've lost cognitive ability or because they're not aware of anything.
It's just not a concern.
They don't want to be.
Yeah,
they're at happy hour, relaxing, having a good time. Why would I?
In the last years of her life, my mother went through a couple of these. They're saying, is she capable of making her own decisions?
Right,
and I coached her through one of them. Where we knew that somebody was coming out. And I said, well, okay, today is the day, is this date. It's this day of the week. So-and-so is president. All this stuff went over. So she had all that stuff. And she passed with flying colors. And then after the evaluator, whatever you want to call them, official evaluator left, it's one of my fondest memories because I went and talked to her and she said, boxed him again, didn't we?
I did the same with my dad when he was going to do the living trust. And I knew that the boys would be asking the questions to verify.
Yeah.
So I just asked him a few things, not just to, none of the jokes, none of the sarcasm, the misdirection, which he finds funny.
Yeah.
He did it anyway.
Oh,
well, it didn't make any difference. They recognized.
Okay.
What he was doing. I was like, oh,
who's
man.
president? Well, it's Coolidge, isn't it?
Dad, you're killing me, Dad. You're killing me, man. We're supposed to take this stuff seriously. Come on. He didn't. But he was fine.
Yeah.
And they saw through it. They did.
Well, that's good.
Good. Let's do a disclaimer because it's always necessary.
Yes, go ahead.
Especially
got to get in the
when I'm not thinking clearly. All content presented on the Russ Clark Show, including statements made by guest commentators and callers, reflect the personal opinions of those individuals and is provided for informational and entertainment purposes only. These views do not represent the official positions of Mortgage One Studios, its owners, employees, affiliates, or partners. Mortgage One Studios does not endorse, verify, or guarantee the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any statements made by third parties during programming. Me reading that just reminds me we had some. Well, let me get this phone call first because we got Mike on there. Mad Mike, good morning, sir.
Good morning. You get through the disclaimer and still streaming on Facebook, so I'm not sure what the time delay is.
Not much.
But you took the call, right?
Yeah, I did.
All right. I can't believe not even barely 5 after 6, and I'm already having to call in as your fact checker.
Why? What is going on now?
Something in the disclaimer?
Yes. No. Before.
What?
Today's the 12th, buddy.
Oh, you're right.
If you've been filling out your forms as the 11th, Wednesday the 11th, you're gonna have to white them out or erase them. Or
I actually did fill it out as the 12th. I was just checking you, Mike.
All-purpose excuse. Yeah, it was a test.
Yeah, it was a test.
Oh,
I guess I failed that one.
answer.
You know, actually, when I bring up my computer and I ask to recover the last date used, which is the 11th, and then I just write over it the 12th. But I did say the 11th. I don't think it was intentional. It was an accident.
And we have
Okay, well,
we have a
repeated
clock
it.
calendar right in front of us that says 12.
And if you look at my if you look at my my streaming, it says the 12th. I punched that in manually, but I did screw up because I read the 11th first thing.
We all get to a certain age, Russ, where what's in the brain doesn't necessarily come out.
It's a good thing I wasn't doing that cognitive test.
You know, Ted, I
Yeah.
found I made a lot more mistakes when I was younger.
It's Mike, by the way.
Mike, sorry. Oh, sorry.
So we got
Mike.
both of us now.
Yeah,
Then we got these old guys in here like Joe Biden clones.
yeah. Hey, come on now. That's really over the pale.
You got so many mics calling in. You need to make sure I'm differentiated.
Yeah, we got you. We got you as Mad.
Formerly Uber Mike, but apparently there's other Uber mics out there. So I'll stick with Mad Mike. That
All right.
seems to fit.
I like Mad Mike. Sorry I woke you up this morning.
No. Oh man, I'm looking for Home Depot orders before 5 o'clock. They push them out at 4:50.
They don't even open till 6, man.
Doesn't matter. Oh yes, they are. They're open at 5.
They open at 5. Home
Walmart's
Depot.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, Walmart's not open until 6.
Another cognitive slip.
A competitive advantage.
I assumed, or I thought at one time it was 6. Anyway.
Maybe it was at one time.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it was. But
that's good information because a lot of times I'm doing stuff at 5 in the morning. I could use some hardware if I'm at home and working on projects. Yeah,
I got you, bro. So, anyways, I've been awake and looking for work, and I thought I'd just call in with a quick update on the club.
Yeah,
driving. It yesterday was a lot more relaxed, but I think it showed me that I'm not necessarily wanting to hang out with these boys forever because I live in the foothills. I like working in the foothills. I like staying in the foothills as much as possible. My daughter's in the foothills, her school, everything. And I've been able and can continue to be able to stay quite well funded, focusing only on the foothills.
Well, then why you messing with these other guys then?
Because it was something I looked at years ago, and now that I have the 8-passenger Highlander, I was thinking, hey, maybe I can get back on Uber, and these guys do a lot, and maybe get some business. But it has been a mixed bag. But yesterday, the thing that was so disappointing was that I had put almost 200. No, it was like 201 miles on my vehicle.
Okay.
Now that's fine if I brought in $200, even if some of it I have to wait till the next day. The Walmart tip, they make you wait 24 hours.
Okay.
And Uber tips, you have to wait an hour before they show up in case they want to change them. Everybody else has figured out, well, if you want to change it, you can just go back and edit it. But they figure, hey, if the tips show that and the person's cashed out, it's gone. But regardless, I was nowhere near that $200 for 200 miles. $1 a mile is the industry. I don't say average. It's what the industry people who know what they're doing shoot for. $1 a mile is a good day. Over that is great. Under that is suck.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But you made your $1 a mile.
No, he didn't.
No,
That's
he
what he's
didn't.
saying.
No.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Now a lot of that was my own, because I took home table order down to San Luis, but it was worth it for the miles if I was able to pick up, work while I was down there. And that's the thing about being with passengers. You could turn on your apps and sometimes grab people, crossing over the border and wanting a ride to work or whatever. So if you go down there, you're not necessarily stuck. Where if it's just food, you're not likely going to get you may get some orders, but they're not likely to tip much. There's a different culture.
Yeah.
And so I don't prefer to work San Luis, but I made a mistake. I chose to go down there, but then I was in a rush because I was supposed to pick someone up at the Algodones, at the Cachan Casino and take them to the Algodones border, and I don't even know if we have taxis. And there used to be a taxi service, but I haven't seen taxis in a long time.
Oh, really?
And
I assume they're all over the place down there. They used to be.
No, there's the desert drivers, and there's one that's called Drive Local that I think are Uber and Lyft drivers or former Uber and Lyft drivers who are, or a combination, that have formed their own little clubs. And Right Local really pissed off my customer last night because she reached out to them and got a price quote, which was similar to ours, but they never confirmed it. And she was trying to reach out to them, and no one was responding. And so she went with us and ended up a good trip for me. But I had to pick her up at 7:30. Well, I was just barely leaving San Luis at like 7:10, 7:15. But I hauled that up there. I was a few minutes, 10 minutes late or so, and she was okay with it. But yeah, I'd prefer to not have to rush, not have to drive long distances.
Yeah.
And so
you get one ticket, you ruin your day.
Yeah, I'm still in the evaluation mode, but at least the drama went down considerably.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Mike, I'm curious. You're saying $1 a mile is considered par. How much of that goes to expenses? Must be a significant amount.
Yes, absolutely. You're driving the wheels off your own car,
right? And there's gas.
Not only is there, as the saying was back in the 70s, GTO, gas, tires, and oil, but there's also, you got to take into consideration insurance.
Sure.
And just your time.
Yeah.
What's your time worth?
Well, exactly.
If I'm driving 30 minutes to pick someone up for 10, 15 bucks, when I could be making 30 or 40 doing a Walmart, delivery, because a lot of the Walmart people do tip well, it's not worth it. So yeah.
So I guess I'm trying to get an idea, because you sound like you are well versed in what the industry standards, what they figure. So is there any kind
I started doing gig work about 10 years ago.
Is there any kind of industry idea of the expenses per mile?
There probably is. I'm sure there's people that evaluate that stuff. I don't.
Okay.
Really
I thought you might have read something about it or whatever.
I probably have over the years, Dean. I've been doing this 10 years.
Yeah,
and I've
right.
looked into
you know what you're doing.
But I do know that by what's called multi-apping, running all of these different apps, and I really have 5 or 6 income streams now. But I'm still my own boss. I choose my own hours. I choose where and when I want to go, all that stuff. So to me, I shoot for $1 a mile.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I realize that that's at least going to cover the expenses, and maybe half of it is left over for me to put back. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's probably.
I understand. That's very interesting to me. And
they're always looking for drivers.
Well, I have plenty to do.
Join us on the road.
I have plenty to do. I appreciate. Thanks for the offer. Man. Very nice of you, but I'm a busy guy.
I got you. We all
take care, Mike. Buddy.
All right, I'll go back to listening.
Mr. Mike out there driving.
It's interesting insight,
I never knew much about how they did it. I mean, I've ridden Uber a lot. I don't know if you've used it.
No, I haven't.
Not in Yuma, but when I go to
other
DC
places,
or
it's
New York or something, I'm on Uber. One of my listeners sent me a interesting question mark about deaths in ICE detention. Said that Jeffries is slamming ICE over detention deaths, and apparently he's quoting 55 people have died in ICE custody in the last 17 months. My listener wrote, I hope it's not true.
Well, why wouldn't it be true? I mean, you have how many people they have in custody? 200,000 or something?
Well, I had to look it up, and it's somewhere. I think they said 60 to 70,000
at any one time.
Yeah.
And so, what's the death rate for 60 to 70,000 people over 18 months ordinarily?
Yeah.
And I bet you it's pretty close to that.
I would think so. I don't know, and this is artificial intelligence that searched a lot of different records,
right,
of people that keep track of those things. And Human Rights Watch is one of them. Physicians for Human Rights, they documented 52 deaths during that time frame, and so the 55 is probably close to the right number. Jeffrey's probably quoting a good number.
I mean, I just don't find it unusual because it's probably statistically in the area you'd expect for that larger population over that time period.
So it says suicides, medical causes, and other rare incidences, which they do post, and they do an investigation on each one of them.
Sure. I mean, you have a large population. People are going to die. They do.
Yeah. And I don't know what the average detainee is, if as far as stress or suicidal or I don't know.
It's hard to know. I mean, because all those things, there's so many characteristics that it depends on,
Yeah.
But you could find out, you could look at U.S. population, say mortality rate per 100,000 a year or something like that.
Yeah.
And
which is not zero.
No. I know that. I mean, just homicides alone in the U.S. Come out to about 4 per 100,000, and suicides are about double that. That's another 8. So that's 12 per 100,000.
But politically,
that's just those causes.
When Jeffries comes out and says 55 died in custody, it makes it sound like
that's
police
right.
Brutality, or they got beat up or neglected.
It's a classic way to lie with statistics. And the
numbers are wrong, but he doesn't say due to abuse or due to
you look at when the absolute numbers fit your purpose better, you use the absolute numbers. Right. When the percentages fit you better, you use the percentages. That's called lying with statistics.
He doesn't explain what they die of.
Right. I mean, it's
and I don't know if they died of old age in there.
It's essentially proper. Well, some of them did, almost certainly, and
I don't want to take
a bunch of them heart attacks. I'll bet.
I don't want to take any of it lightly, and some of it's suicide. Apparently,
of course,
some people are despondent
because if you have 60,000 people in a particular year, you would expect 8 roughly to die of suicide.
Well, and those would be the 67,000, but they're in and out.
Right, of course. They're not the same people, but it doesn't matter. You've got a population.
Yeah, but it doesn't say neglect or anything. And but I don't know. And how many people die in prison a year per 100,000?
Well, that's a good question. Maybe somebody should have statistics on that.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
That'd be a good question for AI to check, because they can check multiple databases and they might come up with something.
Yeah.
So I think that the 55 is probably right in there with the norm of what you'd expect. And it may well be lower than the same population would experience on the street.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, one of the
less gun deaths.
Well, there's probably less homicides inside these facilities.
The homicides happen, but it's not going to be through gun.
Well, less likely. I mean, I've studied this, and people smuggle guns into prisons.
They do.
They make their own. All kinds of things happen, and the homicide rate inside prisons is higher than the homicide rate for the general population outside prisons. But that's because in a prison, you have a lot of violent, nasty people who, tend to have nothing else to do, and they figure out ways to kill each other.
Well, the prison numbers are really astonishingly high, more than I thought. pre-pandemic was 3,800 to 4,100 deaths in state prisons.
Per what
In
population?
state, that's exactly the question. But the mortality rates per 100,000
Yeah.
is 300 to 350 per 100. That's a lot.
Per 100,000?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Is that in prison or just
in prison?
Yeah. I mean, consider if you've got 100,000 people, you'd expect at least 1% to die every year just to account for births coming up. I mean, so 1% of 100,000 is 1,000.
Okay.
So that I would expect. I mean, normal mortality in the U.S. is going to be probably about 1,200, 1,500 per 100,000 a year.
They're talking suicides, of course, or thing in
everything.
jail too. Everything. Of course, suicides happen in real life.
That's yeah. No, U.S. has a suicide rate that's kind of in the middle in the world. The highest rates are in Japan and in South Korea, and those are very high. And then, so we're kind of in the middle.
Prisons are closer to 300 deaths per 100,000.
Only 300.
And the ICE operations closer to 100, less than 100 per 100,000.
Yeah. So the ICE operations have a relatively low mortality rate compared to prisons.
According to this quick little double check.
Well, I mean, that's what I was getting at.
Easy. So like 1/3.
They said they've had 55 deaths in 18 months.
Yeah.
I think it was 18
17,
months. 17. Well, okay. So that only comes out to about 38 per 100,000 per year.
Yeah.
Which is low, which is really low.
Well, we're taking great care of them. That's
well, and the population. I'm guessing the population probably a little younger than the general population.
Yeah, you think it'd be older because the older people don't run as fast; they get caught.
Well, I'm sure there's some of that, but I don't think you probably don't have as many 60, 70, and 80-year-olds that are trying to start a new life somewhere.
So that's not a high number percentage-wise to general population.
No, it's not. It's low.
Okay. So they're getting great care.
So what I'm saying, it's in
the way he frames it, it's like outrage.
Exactly.
There's 55 people have died in prison.
Well, have died in custody.
Or in custody. How many people die in the hospital?
Well, how many people? If you took that same, my point is, you take that same population and released them, what's the death rate? And it would be higher.
Probably.
They get
better
food.
Care.
They get medical care.
Shelter.
They're monitored to try to prevent a lot of the crimes that normally happen. I mean, and so we actually have a smaller number, almost certainly have a smaller number dying in custody than would die outside of custody.
I think that point needs to be made. Well, you just did.
Yes.
Of course, just skimming at the surface, we don't have a lot of details, but
it's
pretty obvious. So
like I said, I'm a skeptic, and I've seen a lot of lying with statistics. It's so common. And I'm not sure if people even realize they are lying with statistics when they do it. But it's
I
really
don't know,
common.
But when I first looked at the 55, I thought,
oh, 55.
Wow, that's a lot of people to die.
Yeah.
Of course, it wasn't out of 100.
It was out of it's about 60-some thousand over 18, almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
Which makes it roughly equivalent to what you'd expect out of 100,000 in a year.
Right. Remember, Carlos Adams ran as a write-in for mayor.
Where?
Here, Yuma.
Yeah, okay.
Yuma against Doug Nichols.
All right.
And I spent a couple hours with him, and a smart guy, articulate, and wants to know more. He's rough around the edges, really didn't know much about government, didn't know much about the policies, didn't know what a mayor did, really. And I wondered, though, because he's driven, he knocked on so many doors, he put so much energy into running.
Yeah, and that's a
right. He put up so many signs. I said, well, what's his future? Where's he going? Well, he's on the top of the front page today.
Okay.
In Yuma Sun, and he's starting this group called the Yuma Transparency Group, which he needs because he needs an education.
Okay.
Well, and the Transparency Group he's launched a civic education group aimed at helping residents build better understanding of how government works and how to access public information. Well, he's the one that needed it.
Well, he probably will self-educate through this, do you think?
Of course. Yeah, I do.
If he's smart, he will.
And I'm not against any of these groups.
No, I think the idea of a transparency group, somebody who helps educate the public,
very good.
More information, the better. I'm all for it.
Well, he's going to meet twice a month. Held the first meeting last Thursday, and I wasn't invited.
Oh, well.
He's got my number.
And an oversight.
An oversight. About 40 people attended. That's not a bad crowd.
No, for you.
Say we're gonna meet and have a meeting on. I told you when I had this impression he's kind of like a Mandani type rally guy.
You got that picture of him, looks sort of Mandami.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's kind of a community organizer type mentality.
Yeah, okay.
This kind of proves that case. He really is. This is a community organizer type
good
function.
for him. I have no problem with this. It's a lot of these community organizer groups.
Yeah.
And I don't know about this one, but they have agendas. They're trying to push certain things. I don't know what's going. He says he's pushing transparency. More power to him.
I think he needs it because he needs to know what it is.
Well,
myself, if he's going to run for public office, he'll know more.
He will.
Which I think. He says his campaign had questions. He said thousands of residents during his campaign had questions about public records, government spending, how citizens can have a great voice in local decision making. Well, that's what you get when you knock on a lot of doors. You find out. And I'm sure he didn't have any of the answers because he really didn't know himself.
Gosh, you're making me feel like I need to do some more work.
Why?
Because oh gosh, it's been over a decade ago. A friend of mine was running for judge.
Yeah. John Paul Jones.
No, it was. But anyway, it doesn't matter the campaign. But I went around knocking on doors.
Okay,
and I knocked on I think several hundred doors.
Right.
And I thought this is a great time to do some research.
Okay.
So I kept track of how long it took people to answer the door. And this is because it's a question that has never been answered by the courts of what is reasonable to wait. Police knock on the door, police, open up. And they're supposed to wait a quote reasonable amount of time. Well, what's a reasonable amount of time? If you don't do the research, you don't know what a reasonable amount of time is.
What'd you come up with?
Well, I came up with, if you want to get over 90% of people to answer the door, you should wait about 2 minutes.
90% would be amazingly high.
That would be within 2 minutes. I mean, sometimes I didn't count the ones that never answered. Okay, I counted them. I looked at the numbers, and this was all on paper. I had a clipboard, and I keep track of it, and I had a stopwatch, and I used the same technique for knocking all the time. I got referred to police twice because I knocked
aggressive knocking.
Yes. I knocked too loud. I used the clipboard to knock.
Oh, that is kind of aggressive.
Well, I mean, because I had to make sure that the knock was heard. And the police, when they're at a door, don't softly tap, tap, tap. They knock loudly because they want to be heard. And it's a great research project. And I just got lazy and set it aside and never published anything, didn't write it up as a paper. I really should, because nobody else that I know of has ever done this research.
Right. I never use my knuckles. That's a mistake.
Oh, what do you use?
I use the palm of my hand. Bottom.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot softer that way.
Well, pretty
depends
loud.
on the surface you use to knock on too.
It's pretty loud. But I never have a problem getting hurt. I have a lot of people knock on my door with their knuckles, and
oh yeah, that's common.
A little.
Oh
tiny.
well, I
can't really hear it. And it would be Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, well,
and even I had the
used
Church of Latter-day Saints.
I used the clipboard specifically to make it consistent.
I hope you didn't damage a door.
I tried not to. I don't think I damaged any doors, but there were so many things that people were doing that delayed them. Yeah. You're in the bathroom, you're cooking. I
usually don't have my pants on.
I
gotta go get pants.
You're changing a baby, taking a nap, whatever.
Right. Ignoring the door. I'm busy ignoring the door.
Yeah. But I mean, the point is that there's lots of reasons why people take a little longer to answer.
What percentage you think don't answer?
Oh, I had that. I can't give you a number.
At least half.
No, it was much less.
Much less.
I would say probably 25 to 30%. Maybe. I mean, but without the numbers in front of me, I'm just guessing at something that was a decade ago.
I will always answer the door. Always.
Yeah, I think I have that.
Now, there's times it could take me a few seconds, I gotta, I'm getting dressed or changed real quick or putting a shirt on something. I'm doing some work in the house.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to answer the door unless I look presentable somewhat. And,
yeah, well,
and a lot of them don't wait.
Oh, yeah, right.
They knock on the door and gone.
Right. But I was deliberately trying to figure out how long it would take people. I did put a time limit on it. I think I would not wait more than 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and that cuts off the high end, but
that's a long time.
And after 1 minute, I'm trying to remember the exact procedure. After 1 minute, I would knock again, to give us a second.
I think a second knock is good. When I got married, Helen never answers the door. Single woman living alone. She doesn't answer the door.
Okay.
I completely understand that.
Right. I mean, and today with all the phones and everything, if you're saying you're going to be over, it's not uncommon. I've done it many times. I get close and I say, I'm about at your place.
Done the same. So usually people know I'm coming.
Right.
When I'm going over.
I mean, in some people, if they say it's impolite to just show up without a prior notice.
That's why I do it. To be impolite.
Oh, I thought you were saying that's why you announced yourself to be polite.
I'll knock on a door. But I've done a lot of door knocking in past for campaigns, got signatures and all those kind of things, which is not an unenjoyable activity for me. I didn't dislike it.
It's interesting. You meet people interesting. I at least try to engage in a little bit of conversation, and I find people to be fascinating. I love talking to people.
Well, Carlos Adams, when we started this, he did a lot of it, from my understanding. I got a lot of calls tell me he's really prolific and getting out there. I think he's not going to quit. I think he's going to be out there. I think he's going to hold office somewhere. I think it's a goal of his for some reason.
Well, I think he can. I mean,
he's a successful businessman. He's got lots of businesses, textile industries and other things. So he's got time. But I just don't know why.
Hard to know.
I don't know what the niche is, what the why is.
If you get a chance to talk to him again, you could start trying to talk to him about motivation.
I will. I'll talk to him again. I have a feeling. Now, I've invited him on the show, and it was like, oh no, he's not ready for that. He doesn't want to come on the show.
But he's okay.
And it's not that him and I have any disagreements or whatever. He just doesn't feel he wants to be asked questions on air.
On air, yeah, I can understand that. I mean, look, I had to work at talking in public, and I consider on air to sort of like a public conversation.
He needs a little work, and I sat down with him and gave him a few pointers on public speaking, and he's come back later and said that really helped me.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And then people told me afterwards, like, why did you help him?
Yeah. Well,
because I help people.
Well, yes. I mean, I think, how can you pick and choose who you're going to help with something like that? I mean, we don't know their motivations. We don't know their agenda.
I don't really want to know what he wants to do with being a mayor. I don't really know what he wants to do with any of that stuff, which is really weird. Usually they have a reason. Let's talk to Andy. Andy, good morning.
Great.
Okay, how many times did you go over your list when we had a list of Republican voters when you were running for office?
Well,
how many times did you go back over to their house when they didn't answer the first time you went a different hour?
I didn't do that very often. Generally, I had so many people, thousands. It took all my time just to get through the list once.
Yeah,
I didn't go back.
When I was doing the stuff, I never went back.
Yeah.
I covered neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I got that neighborhood.
Unless there was a special reason, like I knew who it was and I knew they just weren't home. I mean, I might flag that one.
Sure.
That would be different.
Okay, and this gentleman that was running for mayor is a write-in candidate, correct?
Yes, he was. He didn't get enough signatures.
Oh, he didn't get enough signatures to get on the ballot.
That's correct.
but it can still go as a write-in candidate.
That is correct.
Now, what I've noticed over the years, you're open and you tell people exactly what you think, and on the air and off the air.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he would be afraid to come on the air unless he doesn't have the answers to any questions you ask.
I think he didn't have the answers, and he was afraid I was going to ask hard questions, I guess.
Well, I mean, but
I'm
that's
guessing.
part of getting out there and running for office. You better have some answers about what your reasons are and
Well,
what your intentions are.
but there's people like Biden and there's people like Hobbs that hide in the basement and don't answer anything.
Well, I don't want to talk about Hobbs. She's out there lying right now about the water deal, how she got the water back from the Arabs, that were stealing our water. They weren't stealing it. They had a legal lease on the ground so they could run and grow alfalfa for their Arabian horses.
Yep, they did.
And then everybody said, "Oh well, we don't want them taking our water." I mean, this was land that was not being used. They developed it, and they started growing the alfalfa. And then other people say, "Well, why couldn't we get this deal?" Because you didn't ask for it.
Right.
They actually did it through the right channels. And so the state, and I don't think it was Hobbs that had anything to say about that happening, of them losing that. I think that happened on the last governor.
Well, I think it happened in the legislature anyway.
In the legislature. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this controversy.
They did not renew the lease on this land. It's state land.
Right. Oh, it was.
And
Okay.
That came with water rights. And they did not want to release it. They did not release it to them on the assumption of saying, well, this is Arizona's water and you're not selling your alfalfa hay here. You're exporting it all.
Wow.
No, but they were buying fuel here. They were hiring people here. They were using equipment here.
So
paid to have wells put in, all the equipment, and they hired people to run the farms up there.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a heck of a going thing there. And now we're saying, oh, well, you can't do it. We'll take it over.
Right.
Okay. Who's that seem like?
Doesn't seem right. I don't like
No, it doesn't seem right. And I had a friend of mine that a similar thing happened. And it was here in the Yuma County. He had a cattle operation and been running it for years. Well, and that's how he made his living. I mean, and I won't go into all these details, but basically, I think it was a county board member had some friends who moved in next to him, and they didn't like the idea of a cattle operation. They said, "Oh, it smells and there's flies and this kind of stuff." And so this politician pulled some strings and got his lease taken away.
Yep, it can happen.
But what was his zoning on the ground too?
Well, he was perfectly legal. It's just that he didn't own the land. It was a lease.
Yeah, and you can lose the lease. It's not yours.
Yeah.
Well, it comes back to the same thing as who's your best buddy down there.
Yeah.
We know how that works.
Well, that's exactly was the problem. Is the people who moved in next to him who didn't like his operation had political connections.
But that's still happening down there.
Well, it's happening. It happens almost everywhere. You have to be aware of it. It's not good, but it's
the voice system is still working. It's not how many you know, it's who you know.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, it's a reality of life. I mean, in the U.S., I think in general, outside of maybe a lot of the corrupt major cities, it's not as common as other places, but there's whole countries that run off of who you know. I'd say it's a lot more common south of the border than it is here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just hate seeing Dobbs, tell her lies, and does it in a convincing way on TV. I think Andy Biggs needs to get out and start telling the truth. Telling the truth.
Well, I think he's getting out a little bit. He's not getting out near as much because I hear that a lot. That Hobbs has got certain communications markets that we're not seeing Andy Biggs show up on. So he needs to be more aggressive, apparently.
Well, I mean, I see her ads on YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
And they're paying big money for it. Now, where are we going to get some money for Andy at that? So it's got back to the grassroots again,
that means she's worried also.
Well, of course she is.
Well,
she knows they're in trouble right now because the federal government's finally got a hold of all the information on that last election, you know, where they got the wrong size ballots were printed incorrectly, so
Oh,
half
yeah.
of the county couldn't vote.
That was one of the most obvious things. Wow.
The BS has to stop here because, you know, I think, and that was also a federal election, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're correct.
Was involved in that.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to have to take control of it. And wasn't she not Secretary of State when that happened?
She was.
She was.
Yeah, she was Secretary of State during the election. She was running for governor.
Yeah,
she was in control of the ballots when she was running for governor. Yeah.
Well, isn't that part of the Hatch Act? She can't do that.
No.
Hatch Act has to do with foreign stuff.
And Hatch Act is all federal.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was, if you're running for a state office or a county office, you can't be employed by the county or the state at that time.
No,
yes,
you can.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And you could be an elected official for the state and still run for the office in the state, even if that elected official is responsible for that.
A lot of people complained bitterly about the Secretary of State running for governor when she controlled the election. Well, she didn't care.
Well, and Secretary of State runs for Secretary of State, like, just again, Lee was Secretary of State twice, and she was Secretary of State the second time when she ran for Secretary of State. So it happens all the time. It just became, we didn't trust Hobbs.
But I wonder why.
Yeah.
Well, Andy, thank you.
I'm just disappointed in the electoral public that has not stood up on their heels and said, we're not going to take this crap anymore. I'll talk to you guys later.
Take it, buddy. Take care, bud.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in the that we haven't done anything to correct it yet myself.
Sure.
You know, the Save Act and all that other stuff. We shouldn't be having these questions. We shouldn't have this conversation. We shouldn't have to. We should just trust the system. There should be, there should be some double checks and some integrity in it.
I am just amazed at how much resistance there has been to the Save Act when it's got like 75 to 80% approval ratings among the general public. They want it, but the media doesn't want it. The old dominant media, I should say. And you talk to people about it who don't follow politics, and they say the Democrats they don't want people to have to show their U.S. citizens to vote. What? I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get to where there's integrity. We don't even have to have this conversation anymore. That we trust the system. There's a chain of custody.
Trust but verify. The whole U.S.
and that verify is acceptable. Nobody says, "Oh, you deny her. How dare you want to verify?"
Yeah, right.
You know?
I mean, the whole U.S. Constitution is based on the idea that you can't trust people because people have proclivities to be corrupted by power. So you have to have checks and balances. And, our checks and balances have been eroded over the last 100 years, particularly over the last, between, I'd say, 60, from FDR through 94.
Well, we were talking about Adams there a little bit, about a community organizer, which that's what he looks like to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, he doesn't describe himself as a community organizer.
No. Obama does, and that's what he was.
Well, sure, that's what gave it a bad name.
And then one of my listeners said, "Yeah, I think Obama was an organizer." No, he claimed he was an organizer.
Well,
Adams does, and I just tell you, he acts like that. And then the question was, does he plans to invest in Yuma rather than Mexico? Because Mexico's where all his businesses are.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mexico and China. He has a textile industry. He makes socks and stuff.
Good for him.
Yeah, he does that. Ted, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
We're doing really well.
One of your new accolades for job title could be a decoy.
I'm a decoy, or he's a decoy.
Yeah, member of the press.
Oh, is that what I am?
The plane.
Oh no,
I'm not getting the analogy.
I don't understand that.
What the decoy comes from? You'll have to explain it. I'm dense this morning.
Air Force One.
Oh, the Air Force One.
Oh, well, that's another interesting story.
Yeah.
Hey,
I like
sell
that
their
story.
soul to a mullah to get on that plane as a press.
Well, Yesterday when I read that story on air, I told Dean, I said, well, I haven't read where the press has complained that they were on the decoy plane and the one that would potentially be shot out of the sky. But they did yesterday.
It just took a little while.
Took a day for it to sink in. Like, oh my God, I was sitting on the plane that was a decoy. Why couldn't I be with the president? That's a dangerous job.
They would sell their soul to a mullah to get on that plane.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
It's a prestigious position to have.
Yeah, to be a decoy.
Yeah, in this case.
Putin has decoys. He has people that are lookalikes that he sends into.
Well, having read a bit about assassinations and dictators and all this, it's not uncommon for people who are at high risk to use lookalikes.
Yep. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, this wasn't lookalikes. This was just a whole plane full of decoys.
Well, hey, as long as Waltz doesn't have a shotgun, they're okay.
Yeah. Shoot.
Now, I have a colleague who wrote and said that he was there. Now, he's kind of left us. Okay.
When Waltz was playing with
when Waltz was having that shotgun episode.
Yeah.
And he said it was completely misrepresented in the press and that Waltz did everything correct and as he should have.
Did your friend see the video?
He was there. He watched it in person.
So how can he explain the video then?
Because the video was chopped to just show a segment and it was presented as if it was out of sequence.
That's a lie because it was left-wing video that came out. And there's no way they would chop it to make him look bad.
Well, whoever gets a hold of the video can chop it however they want.
Yeah, but I didn't see any video different.
So this guy was there and he said, and he gave him a detailed explanation of what Waltz was doing and why he did it the way he did.
Yeah.
And it actually kind of made sense.
It did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said, well, it was at the end of the hunt. He wasn't loading, he was unloading the shotgun. And he had a problem where the shell carrier misslipped or whatever. So he had to do things a couple of times and he had to check them over. I mean, I'm going from memory.
Yeah, that's not the impression I got when I watched the video.
Right.
But
And neither did I, because the impression that I got when I watched it was this is at the beginning of the hunt, not at the end of the hunt.
it certainly looked like it because he still had tags on his.
Well, I mean, sure. I understand. And I had written about it. And my associate wrote differently and explained he was there. He watched it.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's very interesting. I'm not saying that he is 100% correct and everybody else is wrong. I'm just saying I have that information that he gave to me, and he's been pretty good on facts.
I would have assumed if that were true that the left, because I'm skeptical, because the left-wing press would have taken the video and said they chopped it up to make it look like that.
You would think that would happen, wouldn't you? But the other side of it is most of the left-wing press don't know beans about guns.
Maybe that's true too. Well,
or hunting.
Well, he was in the military, wasn't he, guys?
Yes,
Waltz was, but that doesn't mean much.
Up until he got called to battle and he quit.
Well, it doesn't mean much when you're talking about sporting shotguns, you know.
Yeah,
it's
and so I'm just
he was trained in firearm use.
Well, that's right. But like I said, my colleague explained what was going on. When I listened to his explanation, I watched the video and I said, yeah, it could be that way. That could have been the way it was. It didn't look that way when you first saw it. It wasn't presented that way.
But he looks uncoordinated, everything he does. Going onto stage and waving the jazz hands and all that kind of stuff. He just looks like over exuberant, artificially, and he just looks
well, I'm not going to dispute that. I'm just telling you on this particular point where I have inside information, inside baseball information from somebody who said, I was there, I was covering the event, I watched what happened, and said it was completely mischaracterized in the media. Okay. And who is a professional writer and has been so for a long time, and who generally, I mean, I would say he's left wing. Originally, because he did an interview with some people that I know something about, and he was very specific and critical and careful. And I thought, wow, this guy is really good. And he is. I mean, he gives very good. He's a good reporter. But if you have an ideological viewpoint, it's gonna color things.
But I do have an ideological viewpoint.
I do too.
But I still want to know the whole truth.
Sure.
If there's video out there that shows this was mischaracterization, I'd like to see
if I remember, I'll send you a copy of his comments to me.
I'd like to see it. And then I'd like his address and number where I can call him and tell him my comments on his comment.
Well, he might be willing to do
golfing. Did you see the golfing?
Yeah, I saw that it was out there. I didn't look at it because I'm disgusted with him anyway. I saw the article. I didn't bother looking at the video. Did you?
Par 5, yeah, I watched it.
Okay. And was it telling that
you got to put that stuff out there, but some things you should just not put on.
Is that one of those things you shouldn't put on? Why? Was it cringeworthy?
Yeah, it was cringy. It was it's ridiculous, man. Just I don't know what
was he trying to portray himself as masculine or something, and then just trying to overplaying it?
That's what it's all about. I mean, that's the only reason I can see for doing it.
Yeah,
I think it was a lot of wasted airtime, but you know.
But anybody that stands up and says, "Well, the Democrats picked me because they were looking for a man's man, and I fit that role," I think, "Oh my God, that's not what anybody would say."
I mean, and when he says in public, "I don't do debates well," I mean, it's not the type of thing a candidate. No. I would never recommend a candidate make that kind of statement.
And then when he tries to explain himself on doing stupid, he says, "I'm just a knucklehead."
Yeah, I mean, that's not prime time candidate.
That guy's odd.
That's who I want running my country.
He's odd. And I thought he was the oddest thing going on until I saw his wife, and then I thought, wow, they're like meant for each other.
I don't recall seeing his wife. So.
Yeah, she's a little just off the beaten path, just quirky. I just just different.
I mean, when she talks about, she wanted to smell the smoke, I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah, they're an odd couple, man. But,
remember the movie in Vietnam where he's standing on the beachhead going, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning."
Yeah, that was actually a good line. I like that.
Apocalypse Now, I think. Yeah. It's a very memorable line. It's one of the lines most quoted from that movie.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's her. Smell of napalm in the morning.
Well,
she didn't look masculine doing it.
I love the smell of tires burning in the morning. Yeah.
All right, Ted, go away, man.
Let me let you go. Thank you guys for entertaining me.
Take care, my friend.
Probably should have been, I love the smell of tires burning in the evening.
That's not good. You're talking like people put tires around someone's neck and light them. That's not good. Not good. It's a cruel world.
Yes, I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Another interesting question. Does the press pay for flying on Air Force One, or do the taxpayers foot the bill?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I know that politicals that have access to Air Force planes are supposed to pay for their own transportation when it's not in association with taxpayers' functions, like on their job functions. They're supposed to pay. But I don't know about press. I don't know.
That's a really good question.
I'm going to have to ask AI.
I mean, in any case, it's almost certainly not the individual press members that are paying, but their organization would.
What would your guess be?
I think they pay commercial rate. That's my guess. And that commercial rate would not be first class. It would be ordinary business class, not even business class economy or something. That's my guess.
I would guess they don't have to pay. That it's just part of the function is government to keep them there as press,
Yeah, it might be. I mean, I
have no idea. I'm
I wouldn't put odds on it one way or the other.
I'm putting it on artificial intelligence. So keep in mind, they're not always right.
I have found them to be absolutely wrong sometimes.
But
I'm not only wrong, but defending their wrong answer.
But this one should be easy for it to answer, to research.
I would think so. It's not very controversial.
Yes, news organizations, not individual journalists, out of pocket in most cases, reimburse the government for seats on Air Force One and related cost. Members of the traveling White House press pool, typically a rotating group of about 13 journalists, photographers, TV crews in the rear of the cabin, travel on reimbursable basis. They are charged the equivalent of the lowest available, unrestricted, fully refundable commercial airline fare.
There you go. Which is almost exactly what I was saying.
I don't want to state that, that you were right.
You don't have to. Everybody understands.
I was wrong, by the way.
Well,
I would have thought that they would have caught that. They would have done that as a opportunity to say, come along.
But these are primo seats. They're practically fought over,
I would pay a commercial rate to fly on it.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
Like right now, I'd borrow money from you or something.
Yeah, somebody who has some money, you know, help you out
and get that done. Let's talk to Miss Sandy. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning. If you want a decoy to work, you've got to put those non-essential, I'll repeat, non-essential reporters on that plane.
That's right. Because
they're the guys that if you didn't, they would blab.
Well,
and tell everybody, oh, we're on this other plane. No matter whether they took their phones away, they'd figure out a way to blab to everyone.
Well, not only that, Sandy.
The president's essential. They're not.
I agree, but they don't see it that way.
They're the elitists.
I know, but we need to make that clear because, see, they were essential employees during COVID, and there were other people that would have liked to have worked and kept their small businesses that weren't allowed to because they weren't essential.
Yeah, we could go into whole shows about the horrible response of states in COVID
and essential versus non-essential.
How horrible and terrible, and it destroyed people's lives and businesses for no reason, just because Fosse wanted to make a statement or something. Just absolutely horrible.
Yeah, Fosse is the blame.
Well, he is a major player.
Help me even understand, make it more clear, is that 6-foot rule that killed the small businesses.
He came up with that too. Fauci did. And there's no scientific evidence behind it. It's all a lie. There's nothing behind that. There's no testing.
I mean, it's just this horrible inability to recognize the terrible harm. I mean, I think maybe he did recognize the harm and just didn't care. I at times
I think that's probably it.
It's just the damage that was done.
Husband, he was so afraid to go to the hospital, and he ended up dying. And unfortunately, if I had understood a little bit faster, I might have got that medication from Dr. Freed over in Imperial Valley.
Sure.
Too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they would have filled the prescription out.
Don't know.
Because he would have sent a prescription all the way to Maryland, but that governor didn't want certain medications.
Well, Sandy, you could have gotten it.
Might not have mattered, but I wish I had reacted faster.
You could have got it. You could have got it in Mexico, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's. I try not to engage in
get it to him,
regrets over what could have been.
Yeah,
we did what we did. We did
on the knowledge that you had at the time,
right? Exactly. So it's.
Oh, and then his funeral was delayed, and even with the delay, it still had issues with it. Just so many. That's just one particular case where other people one of my nephews said, he didn't want to take those shots. So I didn't realize till later, he got terribly ill after he did whatever it was where there were 2 shots. We didn't take them, and I'm glad because we have heart problems, but he got terribly ill, the second one. And then they've regretted after they've learned and read more about, could be after effects, no telling how many years or whatever from it.
Well,
but another reason he did it was because his mother-in-law lives, they take care of his mother-in-law.
And there were huge classes of people who had no reason to really take the shots. Children, particularly, unless they had very specific problems, shouldn't have been taking the shots.
Ever. No.
I know, and I tried to tell my youngest sister, but I don't know for sure. I'm not going to ask him at this point, but I think that her grandson, they probably did all the shots, so it's like, doggone it.
Yeah.
But, because we got to hear from that guy. And my oldest sister said, how did you know so much? And I said, well, this radio station, they had a doctor on it, and I'd try to tell her stuff. But since her husband had died, she didn't care if she died from the shot or not.
Wow.
That was her mindset.
Wow.
And I know that sounds terrible, but the
Well,
grief was so horrible.
yeah,
She
yeah.
didn't care. And her children were pushing her to do it. So she just said, okay,
Oh
I'll
yeah,
just do it.
this pressure to take the shot was intense,
It was.
Right. So,
and it was all part of
Anyway.
this campaign, and then mostly, in my opinion, to cover up his own bad decisions, Fauci's own bad
well,
decisions.
and his wife, she's, doesn't she she's over him so she can protect him or something? Her job?
I have no idea.
I don't think so.
No,
Is she
Fauci was pretty
NIH
powerful. He was
or-
at the top and stuff.
Yeah, Fauci is.
I understand that, but he even had cover from her, if I'm right. That's something you could check on the phone. I'm going by memory.
Yeah,
She was
I don't
some
know.
big wig in NIH or something. But see, because of the press, and to me, the press knows they're accountable because they repeated all of Fauci's lies. And so they want to cover up for him because they don't want to be held accountable.
Well, that could be, but I don't know that they know they're accountable. I think most of them figure they're immune from anything.
Right.
Oh, there you go. See, I didn't think that way. I thought maybe they could think, but I don't know why I think they can think.
They
Well,
they
You know, 'cause
think
they
but-
really are non-essential. So, but John Roberts, I saw a clip with him. He didn't realize either, and he took that booster, and I guess he got terribly, terribly ill. And
You mean Supreme Court? Roberts?
no, on Fox News,
Oh,
I think I got his name right. There's a John Roberts
Well, it's a pretty common name.
who has a show with Sandra something or other. Can't think of her last name. On Fox. No, that one, not the other one. Well, who knows what happened to the other one? You know, if he took it or whatever. But
I've tried.
anyway, and
I've tried to look at the.
but I'm right about if you're going to have a decoy, you got to have everything be the same, right?
Well, of course.
Except the person you're trying to protect.
Well, I was going to
He's
say that
essential.
even if the reporters don't report it, anybody watching the plane realizes, oh, these people are not going on. Something's different.
well, they put Trump
Right.
on. They just took him out the back
I
door.
agree. That's why it was a successful decoy
Yeah,
operation. It
yeah.
was really well done.
The
But-
press didn't
Correct.
even know he wasn't on board.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
can't let that information out. It'll leak,
But
as Sandy says.
Correct. But they are now, that's their big complaint. I hope more people just ignore them, or I don't know. I guess I'm glad I talked to you guys. I haven't put that out there. You guys really are non-essential. I probably shouldn't do that.
no, you're
huh?
probably right.
Probably right that I shouldn't, or should I?
No,
go
probably
ahead
right
and
that
do it?
we're not
I think
essential.
those sort of what we used to call mainstream journalists are becoming less and less essential every day.
That's very true. That's very true. Well, some people, not everyone, not the TDS, but some people wake up to being lied to all the time.
Oh, yeah,
More
that's
people
happening
are
more and more.
understanding- Oh yeah, yeah. So why would they trust them? So,
Exactly so.
I noticed that Hong lady lost.
Yes.
Very
Michelle
cl-
Tafoya won.
Yeah.
And I hope Michelle Tafoya beats. I think is she running against a lady? Do you know if the Democrat's a lady?
What state?
Hong, it's Wisconsin. I think.
Hong is
I'm
Wisconsin.
talking about Michigan. I think Tafoya won in Michigan.
Sounds right.
So she's running for Senate against, I don't know who the Democrat is. I was just wondering if it was a lady who dresses with a headscarf like she's Somalia, and you can tell she's a white person.
I don't know,
So
but
probably,
the Hong case in Wisconsin, I looked at that, was extremely close. I even wonder if there might be a recount or something. It was like 0.4%.
Is that all? I knew it was close.
39.8, as I recall, to 39.4%. 3,200 vote difference out of about 600,000 votes cast. I mean, it's
well,
just.
I don't know if this is true or not, because I don't know that I can trust everybody I read, but
Sure.
something about there was a concern about there was a big drop at the end. So maybe
I would not be
I was thinking
surprised.
maybe the Democrats went after her. Dropped.
I have followed Wisconsin politics quite a bit because I grew up there. And they're usually, the way these elections happen is at the very end, Milwaukee drops a huge number of votes, and it often decides the election one way or another. And then they say, I don't know what the excuse is for them putting their votes in so late. Oh, we're a big urban area, it takes a long time or something, who knows. But that's what I see. And her opponent was the mayor of Milwaukee. And so it
could be true then. Oh, I sound like a little kid.
And
very immature.
And his base is Milwaukee. And you look at where, I looked at the map of where the votes were and everything, and he got overwhelming votes in Milwaukee, and Hong got overwhelming votes in Madison. And they came out really close. I mean, just 3,200 vote difference between them. So it was a really, really close primary. He ran as a moderate. He doesn't sound very moderate to me, but at least he didn't have a history of making very questionable statements. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the governor's race is. Tiffany, who is the Republican candidate and really didn't have any serious opposition.
Yeah, he won.
He won, but he won with like 94% or something. It was, there was no question. And he is from my hometown area. It's District 7, which is the northern part of Wisconsin. And he took Tom Duffy. Is it Tom Duffy? I get that. I think it's right. Was the representative up there and is now the Secretary of Transportation. Sean Duffy, not Tom. S-E-A-N.
Oh, okay. I recognize the name now.
Yeah, he's Secretary of Transportation now and seems to be doing a really good job.
Yeah.
And it's the person who won his seat is Tiffany, who resigned that seat to run for governor of Wisconsin.
Right.
And then the person who is, it's Sean Duffy's son-in-law, who won the primary in Wisconsin to take over to become representative for 7th District in Wisconsin. And he won by a significant portion. But I mean, the entire apparatus of the Republican Party, almost, it appeared to be, was on his side. I mean, he got huge amounts of money. President Trump endorsed him, and he's 26 years old with no previous political experience.
Wow.
But he's Sean Duffy's son-in-law.
That's experience.
And he might be like really smart.
I have heard him. I heard him on a radio show, national radio show, and I was impressed. He seems to be quite smart, but he's only 26. I mean, he doesn't have a huge amount of life experience, no previous political experience, but he says the right things, and he is endorsed by President Trump. How does a Republican candidate who does that lose? Plus, he's Sean Duffy's son-in-law, and Duffy was very popular up there. I think he will win the general election in the 7th District of Wisconsin. And that means he probably has a very long career, and I hope he doesn't get corrupted too fast.
Yes, we don't want them to get corrupted, that's for sure.
Well, it's impossible. You win in office. He's a young man, 26, going to D.C., where everything and anything a young man possibly could want is going to be offered to him for a little bit of influence or a little bit of access. And that's a recipe for corruption. I hope he has the moral strength to avoid most of it.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's one thing my husband has always emphasized, that I was resistant to or just have a hard time understanding people that would do that. But he's got, because of his dad and his mother and the rest of his family, maybe that will help.
Well, I hope
keep
so.
From going to the side of the devil.
Well, it's not like a clear choice. It's not like somebody with a long red tail and horns comes up to you and says, come over to my side. It's more like a very nice gentleman comes up to you and said, can we have lunch?
Yeah, I don't know why I'm laughing, but I was thinking of a movie. It reminds me of a movie.
Yeah, well, I mean,
But,
it's the tendency toward corruption and evil is insidious and slow often.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Matt Towery was telling Sean Hannity that the Republicans need to get their ads out now. They need to not wait like they typically do. They need to get them out now. And so,
Well, we're not that far off from the midterms.
I know, but he said they're not. And I've heard that we have lots of money. So why don't we just go ahead and start spending it?
Yeah,
I haven't seen any Andy Biggs ads yet, but maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. I don't know.
Okay, Sandy, the idea that we have lots of money comes from this. The Republican National
Comes
Committee
from where?
comes from this. The Republican National Committee has way more. I think like it has quite a bit of money compared to the Democratic National Committee. And the Democratic National Committee is deep in debt and doesn't have much money at all. But big, powerful billionaire Democrat donors have lots of money. So it doesn't mean that on a particular candidate race that the Republicans have a lot more money than the Democrats. It just means that the DNC doesn't have much money. So it's a little misleading to say the Democrats.
Well, see, I think some of the Democrat stuff is less than it's been on all.
Oh yeah, I think so. And there is something to be said for having a coordinated campaign at the national level. But what I'm seeing is that a lot of Democratic candidates have plenty of money.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
but some of that's dried up because of the investigations.
Donors. I forgot about the donors. They can be a really big problem, but I think we could use a common message, and I would paint the other side with everything that these socialist communists are saying.
I think that's good,
Every one of them, and I
think it'll happen.
Well, they need to do that, and then they need to remind people that they want to take everybody's money. Not a single one of them, and they were like not even. There was already the socialist communists in the government from the Democrat side, but they didn't want anybody to keep more money from taxation. You know, they all voted against tax breaks.
Yeah,
so we need to remind them of that and how they, you know, they would take away your place, Russ's place, my place. They would do whatever they wanted to do. They're just, and they need to understand that.
Well, I agree.
I hope more Americans understand it, and they want to open up the borders, and they want to opening the prisons. That just, and then getting rid of the military. My God, you can't protect your country without a military.
Well, you know, these social democrats say, well, you shouldn't have a country. The country's bad.
Well, you know, I think part of the problem is the friends that they associate with, and maybe the teachers they had. Maybe any debating where others had a different viewpoint, like explaining why we need the military. I think they probably weren't allowed to speak. So a lot of these people never got any pushback.
Well, perhaps. But I mean, something for nothing is a powerful motivator. Just vote for me. I'll give you all this free stuff.
Right.
Unfortunately.
And that's scary to me.
Appreciate the call, Sandy. Thank you, man.
No problem. You guys have an awesome day. Thank you. Bye.
As Miss Sandy. Always.
Yeah, she's got a good mind. I enjoy talking to her.
She does. Gilbert tried to call a while ago. I'm going to call him back because obviously his wife told him, you know, he's allowed to call.
Man, you're going to get in trouble.
But I got Mike instead. Mike, how are you, sir?
Hey, good morning to the both of you.
Good morning, sir.
I think Andy's a little naive about the Republican Party. I mean,
why is that?
She puts the Republican Party does not know how to run a campaign.
Okay.
But that's not why I called.
Okay.
I called because Dean made a very important comment that was kind of brushed over, and you didn't exploit it. So I'm calling to take you guys over the goal line.
All right.
Once his wife, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, governor of Minnesota,
Okay.
during the George Floyd peaceful
yeah,
riots,
mostly peaceful, right?
did make the comment. It's printed in the New York Times. It's printed in the Wall Street Journal. Go look it up. That she said she liked to open the window at night and listen and smell the smoke. Now the thing is, did she say tires? Did she say that? She said she liked to open the windows and smell the smoke of that riot. She thought it was victory.
I remember
And
those
that needs to
comments.
be
I didn't
said.
remember who it was from, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You didn't remember.
Right.
But we need to say it and say it and say it and remind the people of who those people are. You know, this is not something we should forget. That is a governor's wife.
Yeah.
That is a governor. And let me ask you guys a question. Who paid to clean up that damn state?
Clean
Who
it up.
paid to clean up that peaceful riot?
They didn't do it.
It hasn't been done yet. I mean, there's been some
whatever
cleanup, but
whatever cleanup there was done, who paid? Where did that money come from?
a variety of sources. A lot of it from the U.S. government, I would expect.
Which is
Us.
Thank you. And so here you've got a governor's wife acting like Nero in Rome.
Yeah.
And you guys have already forgotten that.
I haven't.
That should be not forgotten. That is a governor's wife.
Yeah.
During a very, very violent time in that state to make a comment like that. What are you throwing your hands up about?
Well, what I'm saying is first, we didn't forget about it because we mentioned it. And the second thing is that the whole riot situation happened because of their actions. If Governor Walsh had brought in troops right away, National Guard, and said, we're not going to allow this, the whole thing would have been stopped.
Would have squelched it somewhat. It was Gwen was her name. I was looking it up. Gwen Waltz is the wife.
I mean, I don't think it's not a surprise to me and probably a lot of people that these people are essentially revolutionaries. They want to destroy the current system.
Yeah.
You did comment on it, Dean. Russ didn't even exploit it. It needs to be explicitly stated what actually happened there with that woman and his governance.
Well, I know we mentioned it before, but he's leaving office. They're gone. They're out of it.
So what? He's a Democrat.
All right.
So
I'd rather talk about the current issues and what's going on.
I'd rather talk about the acts that they made as Democrats in power.
You've got every opportunity to call up and say that. That's fine.
I like to see my city burn. I like to smell the smoke of my burning city. That's a Democrat.
Right. That's
we need to keep our foot on the neck of these people, and you keep letting them get away like lemmings.
Well, I do talk about the current issues. Like I'm more interested in who won the Minnesota race now. That's going to be the next governor.
That's not that far in the past. That's still a current issue.
Okay. All right.
I appreciate you calling up on it.
Yeah, I do. It's fine.
I would appreciate if you would exploit the facts of the things that these damn Democrats are good at, which is hating America.
I guess I do, but I agree with you, but then I move on and there's other issues and there's stuff going on right now about, well, who's nominated for the next governor? Did Mike Lindell win? Those kind of things. And by the way, Lindell did not win.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And so Mike Lindell is in competition for the governance of Minnesota.
Well, no, he's not anymore. He's gone. He lost the primary.
So what percentage does it show? Did he get some votes? Was he on the ballot? Or was
he was on the ballot.
Okay.
I don't know what the vote was.
Yeah, but who was the Republican who won the primary?
I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't remember. I'll have to find my notes.
But there's a Republican running against a Democrat for the government of Minnesota.
Well, it's just
this story should not be put aside about what his wife said about the peaceful riots.
Well, I think it's a useful, it'll be used in campaigns probably.
Yeah.
Oh my
I would
But
be.
what I'm trying to explain is the fact that you guys have forgotten the intensity of it,
All right.
and you will forget about it like it never happened because it happened yesterday. And that's where we make our big mistake in fighting these people. It's just ho hum to you guys.
Well, color me wrong. I don't talk about that constantly, and I'm not going to. I
You
mean,
don't think it's significant that a governor's wife?
Well,
would
it's not
make
the
that
only
comment?
thing.
no, it's not that. I think it was significant. It was significant. It's not significant today.
It's not, huh?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, all righty then.
All right.
That's my 2 cents.
Thank you,
Have a
sir.
good day.
Take care, Mike. Bye-bye. Yeah, I want to move on with that.
Well, the thing is, there are a lot of similar comments, that we get from these candidates that are
That are
Democratic
active,
socialists that are coming
active,
up.
that are engaged and all that, versus
Right.
the wife of a governor,
Well, and who's leaving office,
which was terrible. But
it was bad.
and it was Lisa DeMuth that won over Mike Lindell,
Okay, so
and she's Minnesota House Speaker.
So what? Oh well, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised that the Speaker of the House would win over somebody who's never held political office before.
Yeah, but he had a lot of gravitas. He got the Trump endorsement. And all
he
that.
did. Okay, so what did it come down to?
Don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the actual.
I mean, I'm kind of interested. Now we're
Oh, I like this article. Trump humiliated as Mike Lindell loses. Really? Does everybody that loses an election say they're humiliated, or everybody that endorses somebody?
Well,
says
it's part of the
that's
propaganda.
Special for Trump. Let's get Gilbert. I know he's been trying. Good morning, Gilbert.
Woo, that guy, Mike. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, Russ, you're right in a sense, but the bottom line is it's up to the voters in Minnesota to bring that up. We in Yuma, Arizona, we can talk about it. We can even scream about it like Mike.
Right.
But it's up to the voters in Minnesota to bring it up and hold the Democrat Party to what she was about, because she represents the citizens of Minnesota, even though she's the missus. Correct?
Well, right. I think it's up to them, but I don't mind mentioning it publicly. I think it was outrageous and stupid, and it shows where we are. But that was that was a few years ago, and we've moved on. These guys are gone, and we've got new agitators
And
that we should be just focused on.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I really do. But Mike's talking about how we should be on it. But we can. But what is Yuma, Arizona, going to do for people up there? They're not hearing us. They're not hearing Mike. We need to have them. Also, I did see the video of, as he would say, "Hi, I'm the governor." Blah blah blah. He introduced himself as the governor, and he was trying to show us how to swing
a golf club.
Yeah.
Was it not
and
pretty?
He said, well, when you lie on TV, when you said, I just hit it and it went 350 yards.
Yeah.
350 yards is a pretty damn good swing.
I think so. I don't hit it that far.
Well, what I'm trying to say, that he said his first swing went 350 yards.
Okay.
And it didn't. And anyway, his other 4 swings was not very good either. So I looked at it.
Okay.
And when I called you Hong, Miss she brought it up, Hong got defeated, but I just saw it on TV. Dean, you're right. It was very close. But because the way the laws are is that Michigan?
Wisconsin.
If she had lost at 1 to 2 points, there would be a recall. But since it was 4 points, if she wants a recall,
she has to pay for it. Yeah,
she
4/10. I think we're talking about.
Yeah, 4/10. She has to pay for it.
And 4/10 of 1% is what I'm.
Yeah, she probably won't pay for that.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, but it was so close. I mean, that's a really close election. And then wasn't there another election? I'm trying to think, a primary where It was a Republican race, and it's down to like 3 votes
I don't know
Wow.
that.
out of thousands.
I haven't heard that.
I read that, and I'm trying to think of was in I forget the state, but it was a Trump supporter versus somebody Trump endorsed versus somebody Trump had not endorsed in a Republican
Right.
primary, and it was incredibly close, like 3 votes.
It wasn't the
difference.
Mike Lindell one then.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm my memory is so horrible that I just remember that. And I think there was a recount initially, and the recount flipped it back to the Trump supporter or Trump endorsee.
okay.
But it was like 6 vote difference from one to the other in the recount. I mean, that's incredibly close. That's, you and your neighbor and a couple of friends.
Yep. Another thing, I forgot who you guys were talking about, a candidate. Oh, yeah, you were talking about Mr. Ran for mayor here in Yuma.
Adams, Carlos
Adam.
Adams.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's like every other candidate, including yourself, Russ. They all try to sell themselves to get votes.
Sure.
That's the process.
It's a process.
Sure.
Process. So he did. I talked to him too, and I'm glad he's doing this reach out for the community.
Okay.
Maybe you're right, Russ. He'll learn more.
Correct.
He'll learn more. I do have a problem with him. All his business is in all Mexico.
Yeah.
It just
Well,
the
he
way I
did. He
think.
did open one in Yuma. After he
Yeah,
started
but
the race, he opened up a
after he
retail
started,
store.
after he started the race.
Yeah.
And again, he decided to get votes. He didn't get enough votes, so he had to do a write-in. So,
Yeah.
Good on him. Let me see what else I gotta say. Oh yes, all the people that were killed by ICE in ICE's custody.
No, that's not.
They died.
They died
in
while
custody.
in custody.
They
Big
died.
difference.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay, but how many of them were actually killed by other inmates?
We
They
don't
bring
know.
that up.
I didn't hear
We
that
don't
as one
know.
of the leading cause. I didn't hear that about it being cause. But
Right.
suicide was a
bottom line-
cause. They listed that. As
Yeah.
some-
Right. Exactly. Suicide.
yeah.
How come they didn't list the other ones? But we all know the biggest thing they have with the media is called sensationalism.
Oh yeah,
It
exactly.
sells
Correct.
paper.
Correct.
It sells paper. For a 14-letter word, it sells a lot of paper, sensationalism. And that's what it's all about.
Right.
For those
It's,
that don't really pay attention.
it's framing a normal number as a conspiracy.
Exceptional. Yeah. Right.
Right.
And that's I call it lying with statistics. I think that's accurate, and
Yes.
it's done all the time.
Yep.
And lots
Both
of
sides
people
do
do it, and I try to
Both
educate
sides
people.
do it.
Yeah, people do it.
Dean, both sides do it.
They do, but only now are the conservatives getting anywhere near as much media control as the leftists have had for decades.
We are going to do better, and I'm going to thank all them liberals, can't say the word that I want to say on the air, but they're helping us win America back.
Well, I
They're
think so,
start-
because they're helping educate.
Yes, they're, a lot of Democrats are going, whoa, this is not what we signed up for.
Correct.
It's true. And I want to say this. If you want to save the republic, so do we. Foothills Republicans invite all conservatives, we invite everybody to come and meet and greet, featuring Yuma County Supervisor Darren Simmons. Bring your thoughts on local issues. Bring your questions. They will be answered.
And
Let's all work together to make Arizona and the U.S. Great again.
And that's at Izzy's, right?
Izzy's this Saturday, August 15th at 8 o'clock. Come early if you want to get a breakfast, because
Okay, that's
you know,
8
once
in the
you get-
morning. Yeah.
Mhm.
In the morning.
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to be sure, because 8 in the evening could be then.
Not with me.
Not in
No,
the foothills.
but we want
I'm
to.
doing
We don't want
karaoke.
people showing up at 8 in the evening
No,
expecting it.
0800. How's that, Dane?
That's great.
0800.
I like that. I like military time. It's not ambivalent about which side of the
Thank you, Gilbert.
day it's on.
No, I got one more thing.
Go
I got
ahead.
one more thing. Have you heard of Suno app?
No.
No.
I just found out about it this morning. Suno app is an application that you can get that if you have some lyrics, and this is for AI, that if you have the app, you can go on AI in the Suno app, write down or tell them some words that you want in the song, tell them the type of instruments you want in this song, and they'll record a song for you.
Wow.
I heard it this morning. A friend of mine that stopped by the house.
Have you
and showed
listened
me.
to a song?
I listened to it.
And
I
what is
listened to the song.
how did it work? I mean, was it good?
It worked really good. It was he had a one that's definitely reggae,
So you
and he had
can
another one. I'm sorry.
so you can decide what kind of genre you want the song in too.
Exactly. Then he had another one that was a cross between reggae and country. And I go, wow. And I go, and I can do this? He goes, yeah, all you do is you have a song, you write a poem, write a song, put the lyrics down and say, this is what I want. I want drums, bass, and blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
Push a button and it records it for you.
I have an
So-
anecdote about a songwriter if you want to hear it.
No.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, Gilbert said yes, so I'll do it.
Oh, no.
I took my children on a wild pig hunt, and the guide had been a songwriter. And he said, I had one hit song in my career. And he said, the only difference was I ended up sleeping in a nicer car.
That's not good.
And the thing
True.
was that songwriting was really a horrible profession to be in, because even if you were pretty successful, you made no money.
None.
So I thought
No,
that
Some
was-
people do.
Well, yes, if
Yeah,
you know,
well,
you get the
how-
very
how-
top, like 10th of a percentage point, maybe make some money. And those that are the exceptionally top ones, you know, the ones out of a million, make okay
Yep.
money. But most people don't. It kind of surprised me. It was an education to me.
Right.
Now, this
Well,
is a
it's
bright guy.
cutthroat industry. It's a cutthroat industry to begin with.
Yeah, yeah.
It really is. It really is. But yeah, so after talking to him, I looked at him. I go, so what we're going to have in the industry, the music industry, a whole bunch of Billy Manillis, music artists now.
It's
He
fair.
goes, yeah, it could happen.
I think what
You
we're
go-
going to see is there's going to be so many talented amateurs out there that just every now and then one will take off virally and it'll become a hit. And, you know,
And
sort of just by almost not quite by chance, there's just so much talent out there that isn't
Yes.
being utilized.
And what you're going to do is save a lot of money because you won't have band members playing. You'll have
Oh, yeah.
AI.
Well, not only
AI.
that, but you won't have record companies recording because it's all over the internet.
And the only problem is, like we were talking about, he goes, who will have the rights to your music?
Well, you have them.
Well, it's not your music if AI creates it, is it?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
You ordered AI to make it. Nobody else has
Yep.
it. You have it. It's yours. It's
And
like,
again,
you know,
Bill-
like using a synthesizer or something. Does a
Yep.
synthesizer have rights to your music?
Well, no.
Yeah.
But I guess they
But
don't
anyway-
need to your music. They just tell AI to do something like it, I guess.
Right.
Well-
exactly. So all these bands are going to go out of business.
I don't see it coming. There's going to be a
You know
difference.
what I'm saying.
I think that live performances will continue.
Yeah.
In
And
some
we saw
form.
what
I mean,
happened.
it may diminish.
Maybe.
Yeah, we saw what Billy Manilli, and you do know that the Monkees did not record their music
At
for a long
first.
time.
At first, yeah.
I didn't know that. I knew
Yeah.
that they were kind of, in my opinion, sort of artificially created.
They were actors,
They
and then but they were musicians also,
Right.
Yep.
And they just
Uh-huh.
they demanded we play our own music, and eventually they got that opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what happened with that, Russ, from talking to my friend Bill Aiken, who was one of the original Wrecking Crew,
Mhm.
they got exposed because of a party. They were bragging about how much money they were making,
Right,
but the Wrecking Crew was the band behind the Monkees for a long time.
right.
Oh, they were a
And they got
band.
exposed.
I was thinking of the Wrecking Crew
Well,
as
see,
in the literary structure.
No.
of
No,
the
Wrecking-
Matt Helm series.
The Wrecking Crew
the
played
Wrecking
on a
Crew
lot of other albums, though. They were
yeah.
When did the Wrecking
Yeah.
Crew come into existence?
60s.
They were a studio band.
So
They
other
were
artists would
studio.
go in and use
Yeah.
them, but it was in the 60s, wasn't it, that they started really, or was it
50, 60.
50s, 60s?
50, yeah.
Yeah, so they were playing on a
I
lot of
guess it's
albums,
a-
but for other singers, other bands and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm musically illiterate, so I have to ask these questions.
I was good friends with Bill Aiken, and that's a book that you need to get, Dean. It's called Carry Your Own Guitar, and it's about Bill Aiken. You definitely need to read it because this is a white boy in L.A. that was. Anyway, get the book. You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy the hell out of it. I guarantee it, because you like to read a lot. But this is about a young man that was thrown in the streets by his mom, and he was adopted by a Latino family.
How old was he when he got thrown in the streets, if I might ask?
11, 12.
Wow, yeah,
That's young.
that is.
But he had a guitar at some point.
Yeah, oh yeah, when his adopted family.
Wow.
I'll tell you who his adopted family was now. You got to read the book. His
Okay.
adopted family was Maria, I can't pronounce her last name, but we know her as the woman that came down the stairs on the country Western movies, the John Wayne movies, that was singing. She sang as she came down the steps.
I don't know who that is.
And his father was one of the mariachi players, his adopted family.
Music in the family, though.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah, but again, he was adopted. And I remember he was thrown out in the streets.
and they took him
And the
in.
adult-
I mean, it sounds like they're Christians.
Well, yes, and this is like I said, late 40s. Anyways, she also starred in some of Tarzan's movies,
Oh,
and he was just lucky to get picked up by this family at the welfare.
Yeah.
He worked at the welfare office.
Yeah, he was picked up by the right family. It's a good deal.
There was nobody to take him.
wow.
And she took him home to that night for a safe place to stay. But Carry Your Own Guitar is a good book and phenomenal guy. I met him here in Yuma, Arizona, doing politics on Facebook. And I said, hey, I got to meet you because we're doing politics. Because I want to meet you too. Well, I went to his apartment and he introduced me to a lot of stuff.
Cool.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate the call, man.
All right.
Thank you, buddy.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Mr. Gilbert. Front page of the paper this morning, it's official that Democrat Hobbs, our governor, has picked a lieutenant governor as a running mate.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's let's see, Giles is his name. John Giles. He's picked him as lieutenant governor. He was a Republican years ago and mayor of Mesa
So,
for a long time.
do you happen to know if he has a lot of connections into the sort of Mechaniac machine?
Don't know, but he's no longer a governor. He's
mayor.
no longer a mayor. He's no longer a Republican. He dumped the Republican Party as an independent.
Well, from our perspective down here in Yuma, my perspective, to be clear, a lot of the Republicans in the Phoenix area are kind of dubious Republicans.
Sometimes, we call them squishies. At times.
Yeah,
I've heard them called squishies.
That's a term I might use.
But she decided to pick, which tells you what? What does it tell you? A Democrat governor picks a former Republican.
It tells me she wants to be reelected.
Well, she sees an advantage of that Democrat heritage or Republican heritage. She sees an advantage,
Yes, exactly,
because she knows she's in a state that now has more Republican people that have signed up as Republicans.
But I would argue that she got elected in large part because the Republican Party was split, and she got a lot of support from Republicans the first time.
No question, and she's trying to keep it split. That's what he's all about.
Exactly.
I think she also had some favoritism as far as counting ballots.
Gee, you think?
Yeah, I think so. As far as how they're counted.
That was brought up this morning about ballots in key Republican areas were misprinted by tiny amounts, and that disqualified the ballots.
Yeah. there was a lot of shenanigans that were going on, and a lot of investigations still going on in it.
Yeah, well, it should be. I'd like to see some serious investigations because
Yeah.
all the investigations at the beginning at the state level were quashed.
And yes, Andy Biggs, who is now running as a governor, as a solid Republican, always Republican,
Yeah, he's
has
good.
picked a Republican running mate that is not a former Republican, but a real Republican. Didn't feel like he had to reach out and be a Democrat.
So
to be on the
his
ticket.
his running mate,
Seneca. And
she's pretty good, I think.
yeah, she was a congressman, senator in Yuma area. Actually, she was in, part of that Yuma area.
Right.
So, and she was very solid farming community, cattle.
Right,
I mean,
yeah, that's
dairy. It's so she's got strong base herself as well as Andy. Very strong. The one complaint I hear about Andy Biggs right now is that everybody wishes he would advertise
He'd put out more at the beginning.
more
yeah.
because Hobbs is putting out some,
Well,
and he doesn't seem to be duplicating it enough.
there's, it's hard for me to know which is the best.
don't
I
know.
mean, if you have infinite resources, you go all out from the beginning. But
Infinite resources are very helpful.
yeah, also hard to come by.
They're very helpful. Little thing on the front page I found interesting. Jack Daniels had a lawsuit against Bad Daniels. Bad Daniels is a label that is put on
That sounds like quite a bit different from Jack.
Jack and Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the label actually looks a lot.
it
It's
looks-
copied from the Jack Daniels label.
Well, I mean, I look at them and I looking at them side by side there.
you could mistake it a little bit.
It's similar, but
Similar.
it's certainly not. I wouldn't
But
say
Bad
there's a
Daniels
copyright.
is not whiskey. Bad Daniels is not alcohol. Bad
What is it?
Daniels is a dog toy.
I don't think there's a copyright infringement.
Yeah.
I don't think so. A
Yeah,
dog toy,
it's a rubber dog toy that it chews on.
and they have a
It's a
lawsuit against
It's a
them?
squeaky toy. And they didn't use Jack Daniels. They said Bad Daniels. It shows a picture of a dog.
There's a dog there, yeah.
And it says something about Tennessee carpet instead of Tennessee whiskey. And it says Bad
But
Daniels.
Jack Daniels has actually put a lawsuit against him.
Yeah, and Jack Daniels is a number 7. I guess it's their 7th brew or something. It says Jack Daniels number 7. This one says Bad Daniels, the old number 2. Kind of a joke,
I don't see. Where's the basis for the lawsuit? I don't
I guess
see it.
copyright infringement.
But it's a different product, and it's
Yeah, but
not
it's-
anywhere near the.
It's
It
made to
looks,
look
only looks a little bit similar.
It does look a little bit similar. And if you saw that at a glance, I would think it was a Jack Daniels bottle. If I just glanced at it, I thought-
I am not enough a drinker that I.
Well,
would
it's the
say.
same shape as a Jack Daniel box. as the
Yeah, but it's
bottle.
not even a bottle.
No, it's not. It's a rubber squishy toy. It squeaks when you squish it.
This sounds like a frivolous suit to me.
I thought it was kind of fun though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Ninth Circuit says Jack Daniels can't block Bad Daniels.
Oh,
dog
good.
toy.
So
Yeah.
they went all the way to the Ninth Circuit.
Well, it's got to protect the dogs. They got to protect
Wow.
the doggy toy. What do they? What's it? What kind of money can you make on a doggy toy to afford that kind of legal?
Somebody must be doing it as a matter of principle.
A lot of times you can lose a legal fight because you just
The
don't have the money.
process.
You just don't have the money.
This is punishment by process.
Yeah.
Jack Daniels has a lot of money. I wouldn't think Bad Daniels has
There was
that
a
much.
large, I was in automotive distribution before I was
Right.
in other things, but there was a company in the Northeast, and I forget the exact name of it, but it was an automobile aftermarket company, and they were regional, and they were several stores and several distribution centers, and doing a great job. And they had a copyrighted name.
Yeah.
Well, a big company, a huge company, decided to do something very similar to that name, and they sued the big company. That's our name. Or no, the big company tried to buy it.
Oh,
buy them.
okay. But
They
then
tried to buy them.
They used it without buying it. I
Well,
take it.
but they tried to buy the company. They tried to buy the company. They
Oh,
couldn't buy
okay.
it.
Well, that's
So the big company sued them for some frivolous stuff about copyrights of a name or something. And the big company lost. And then they sued them again. And they said, and they just told the company, you should sell to us now before we bankrupt you in court because it'll never stop.
well, except that can go to court, and the judge and a jury could say, okay, well, the punitive judgment is 5-10 times what the actual.
It's not what happened though. And the company finally sold.
Wow.
They just couldn't take the pain.
Well, sure. I mean, that can happen. I've seen this. I mean, you see it in individual lawsuits that the punishment is the process.
Yeah, the process is tough and expensive.
Yeah, right. So if you don't have the wherewithal,
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it in individual cases, in criminal cases. I mean, you know, and this is why U.S. attorneys win like 99 or not 0.5% of their cases, whatever it is. Might be 99.2. I could be wrong by a few points, but the point is the process itself is extremely expensive and punishing.
Let's talk to Andy. What's on your mind, buddy?
Well, I'll tell you what's on my mind right now. I'm a little upset with the county, in
Okay.
Yuma County, judicial system,
All right.
because I thought that they live by the rules of what the federal government says through ATF. And I'm looking at Dean right now, and I'm saying, okay, Dean, if you're convicted of a felony crime with a weapon in your possession and drugs for sale in your possession, is that not a minimum 5-year sentence for a convicted felon to carry a loaded weapon while being in possession of drugs for sale?
That sounds correct to me, but this is somewhat in flux because the whole question of whether you can ban somebody from ever exercising Second Amendment rights again in their life because you committed something that is named as a felony but is not necessarily violent is up before the courts and being appealed in several different
It's being
jurisdictions.
appealed, but right now it's
still law,
it's
right?
still
now.
law. You're right, Andy. It's still law.
I thought the law read a convicted felon cannot have possession of a firearm.
Right.
And they cannot have a possession of a firearm in the action of a crime.
Correct.
Oh, wait a minute. And they cannot have a firearm in a connection of a crime where drugs are involved for sale.
Yeah, and there's some add-on penalties sometimes, and that's where I think your minimum 5 years may come from. It's a complicated little bit of law because of all the interactions that go on. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a third felony conviction for this person right here in Yuma.
Third. Wow.
Third felony conviction. This is in Yuma, and the county put him on probation.
Well, you know, the courts have quite a bit of discretion.
Well,
and though that's a federal law, so if the county put him on probation, I'm presuming the offense he was arrested for was a state offense and not a federal one.
Well, okay, so let's put it this way: his offense that they originally went to arrest him for was a breaking and entering in Welton.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty serious offense.
Right, and they got him on camera evidence of what he did, and so they set up surveillance on him, and they arrested him at 2:30 in the morning, leaving someone's home in a vehicle that did not belong to him, and he had a loaded Glock and drug possession for sale, all baggied up and ready to go.
Wow.
And they put him on probation. You're saying they allowed him to have bond, or they just gave him probation? Which is it?
No, he did not. You know, his grandfather did not bail him out this time. So I told him, "Don't. You do this, I disown you." He went through the rehab program through the mission, and the judge, who called him by first name, I mean, she must like the kid.
Well, she knows him from priors.
He's 33 years old. He's never, he's been convicted. This is his third time. The second time he was convicted and sent to prison was because he had threatened to kill his grandfather and his grandmother because they weren't giving him his way.
Oh, man.
Well, sounds like a dangerous person.
Yeah.
And then now he's gone through the process. He went through the mission. He got kicked out because he knocked up one of the females that lived in the mission. So he got kicked out of the halfway house. And then they put him on probation, supposed intensive probation, but he's still legally to go out. He's legal, and this is what gets me, the adult probation. It said, yeah, you can go hunt. You can go hunt deer in 2 weeks up by Flagstaff with a bow and arrow.
With a bow and arrow. Okay.
Weapon too?
But it's not covered under the
not a
federal
firearm.
statutes, and I don't think it's covered under the
Yeah.
state statutes either, and that's why it's allowable in this case,
Yeah,
because it
neither's-
isn't prohibited by
Neither's
the
a steak
statute.
knife. You know, you can have a
But
steak
we're still
knife.
talking about the court system is in bad condition when you let somebody out that's already been sent to prison for attempted assault with a deadly weapon.
Well, I have no
Because-
argument with you there, Andy. I mean, our whole court justice system is not perfect by a long ways.
Yeah.
They're letting someone out who has already proven that he's not afraid to threaten somebody. And the next thing is in between the B&E that he did in Welton, he threatened someone with a gun in the city, and the city just went out and asked questions.
So those charges were never. The charges for threatening somebody were never brought before a court.
Just crazy.
The city did not, when they questioned this person on this, the city did not, jump in and say, okay, well, we need to get a search warrant on his residence if this gun is there. But the gun that he used to threaten this other person with is the one he had with him when he was arrested at 2:30 in the morning.
And he's not allowed to have a gun because he's a convicted felon.
Correct. And the city never checked that. Oh, wait a minute. His last prior felony conviction was through the city, through the county, because the person that he threatened, his grandfather and grandmother, were living in the city at the time.
Well, like you said,
And
it sounds like there's problems here.
He's
but
still out walking around.
he's on probation. He's out. Yeah,
That's
but they
crazy.
said serious probation, whatever that means.
Intensive.
Intensive.
It's called intensive, but they're so lax now that they're going to let him take off to Flagstaff for a week and go pre-hunt and hunt.
That's hard to believe.
Well, from what you've presented, I would have a problem.
Well, I got a real problem with it because you know what? Here's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and call before I go check in at YRMC. I'm going to go ahead and call ATF because federal ATF is the only ones apparently who would care about something like this. This person does not belong on the street because if he loses his temper like he has a good habit to do, what's he going to do next? He doesn't have a gun, but he's got a hammer.
Well, you're saying he's a serious danger to himself and other people,
Or
mostly.
he's demonstrated that he has been.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
he showed all this evidence. The court has all the evidence, but nobody wants to help this guy out and put him where he belongs.
Well, and you have a personal interest in seeing that he's put away.
Damn straight.
Okay. Well,
He's a B&E specialist. He told me one time before he got arrested for his last deal, he says, "I'm the best there is." He was robbing houses out in the foothills. He knew which houses nobody lived in because they were gone for the summertime.
well, Andy, you need to help. You need to help giving him off the street, buddy.
He sounds like a
Well,
person we need off the
that's my
streets.
point.
Yeah.
Because and the only ones that really count is going to be ATF, I'm sure.
What?
Because nobody else in this damn town that wants to do anything. I just heard about this a little bit ago where he's back on the streets and they gave him permission to go hunt.
Well, it sounds weird to me. Let me know how your research goes, buddy. I'd be interested.
I appreciate you calling in on
Thank you, man.
All right, you guys have fun.
As Mr. Andy with some real concerns. So I read, I just typed it in real quick. It says in Arizona, convicted felon is classified as a prohibited possessor,
Possessor, yeah.
and cannot legally own, purchase, or possess a firearm or ammunition under state and federal law. Violating the law is a class 4 felony, which carries a presumptive prison, not minimum, but presumptive prison sentence of 2.5 years, up to multiple years.
That's under state law.
Yes.
I just wanted to make that clear because there's federal felony involved too.
Yeah, it
But
says federal
you-
prosecution, federal law also bans all convicted felons from possessing firearms, meaning cases can be picked up federally. This one wasn't, but it was.
Well, it's unusual for both federal and state prosecutions for the same incident. It does happen occasionally, but
And here's
not
something
common.
that I had a judge explain once, not to me, but to someone else. I went to the court trial because it affected me, but it says a felon does not have to own the gun or hold it. Simply being in an area with immediate access or control over a firearm can trigger a charge. And I remember the judge at the case I went to, I think it was down in Somerton, somebody that had robbed one of my stores or done some things at my stores.
Right.
He said, look, he explained what that means. He said, look, that means if you're on the side of the road and somebody pulls over and wants to give you a ride into town and they have a gun rack in the back of the car and there's a gun in it, do not get in that truck.
Really? I think that's an overblown.
No, that's exactly what the law means. You can't even be in possession or in an area.
I will tell you, I've studied this, and I think there you'll find a lot of disagreement.
Okay.
That's what the law means.
All right. Well, that's all I've ever heard is you can't be anywhere where you have access.
It's some prosecutors push that and some don't.
Well, there's a difference when a prosecutor adjudicates versus what's legal.
Well, and the law is not always clearly black and white.
Okay.
And judges may have different opinions about what the law means.
Absolutely. But if I have that hanging over me, I don't get in that truck.
Well, I understand. And it's a problem. I mean, let me give you a case that's kind of similar. G. Gordon Liddy was a convicted felon.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I don't own any guns, but my wife does. And they're close to the bedside.
Okay.
So was he violating the law?
According to what I heard, yes.
Yeah, but according to my to many other opinions, maybe not. Because does his wife lose her Second Amendment rights because she lives with her husband?
No, she has every right not to live with her husband.
And I would say living with her husband doesn't require her to give up her Second Amendment rights.
No, she doesn't give it up, but she just doesn't carry it where he is. That's all.
Yeah,
according to what I've read
and
what I've heard the judges explain.
It all depends on the judge. I don't think there is official precedent on this at like appellate court or even a Supreme Court level.
I think there's not enough prosecutors that prosecute it as it is. I mean, you go into a lot of these records where you hear a guy's been arrested 30 times or something.
Well,
and he's carrying a gun, but they never push the gun charge, even though he's a felon.
That's pretty common. You're right. I mean,
I just get disgusted with it. I was like, why have those laws on the books and they're not going to push them? And yet the left keeps saying, we need more stricter gun laws. We need stricter gun laws. We need stricter, and we don't enforce the ones out there. Why would you make a stricter
one?
What
I see is that a lot of times they'll use these gun charges as bargaining chips in the plea bargains. We're going to drop that. We're not going to do this, but plea to something else.
Good.
I'm not a big fan of plea bargains.
But that keeps happening, and the left keeps screaming, we need bigger guns.
Oh, yeah. You'll see that
stuff.
I don't disagree with that.
They never scream that you need to enforce it more. They never scream.
I'm not so sure.
I've
Maybe
never heard
some do.
I've never heard it. In fact, a lot of times the criminals that are, in trouble, they scream that it's, they're too heavy-handed because of the gun charges. I've seen that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And
we see people trying to.
All he did was have a gun, and they hate guns, but they want the criminals to get off.
You're right on both counts.
Yeah. Yuma County Sheriff's Office issues a level 2 sex offender notification, and they have to keep putting that in the paper. So if you ever get a sexual prosecution where you're arrested and convicted of some sex crimes, your name gets in the paper a lot if you like the publicity.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings on this because there are the definition of who is a sex offender can be pretty broad
sometimes, and it carries it for life. I mean, you could do something as a teenager,
right?
And when you're Dean's age, it's still going to be in the paper.
Very plausibly.
Yeah.
And it's hard to escape it anymore.
This is a level 2 sex offender living in Somerton, required under Arizona sex offender notification law. So anytime he moves, he's got to notify, and then it's going to be in the paper.
Yep.
That says, look, Gregorio Santana moved. And this is his new address. He's 27 years old.
I have to say I've been concerned about the child pornography stuff
Uh-huh.
and child sex offenders.
Uh-huh.
But when I've looked at the actual prosecutions, they're usually pretty careful. I mean, there's usually hundreds, if not thousands, of images that they find.
That's what
on
I was
these
going to say. The only
phones.
thing, the ones I've read said, they got this guy's computer and there were thousands of images,
Yeah.
and I'm like, holy man!
So it's usually not just
Something
something
wrong with
that
this guy.
somebody could have put in on their phones
Right.
repetitiously or something.
It's like getting Hunter Biden's laptop,
Well, and he didn't. I have read people authoritatively saying he did not have any images of children.
No, he
Now,
just had a lot of.
How would you know what that image of a female in China, what her age would be?
I have no idea, but they did not suspect it was children. It was just a lot of bad images and a lot of incriminating evidence against him that got pushed aside.
Right.
That's all.
And he's got a pardon now, as I understand.
Yeah, he does, and he's also got a direct life. Sometimes, it's. I mean, judicially, he's not been convicted of anything, but his life seems to be just crap.
I would not trade my life for Hunter Biden's.
No, no.
I mean, to me, it's this total emphasis on hedonism that never really satisfies him.
Yeah. No, he never seems to be happy. He seems to always be out of money.
He seems to be very unhappy no matter how much money, no matter how many women,
And
no matter how many drugs.
And he's the victim all the time. I'm a victim. And he's gone through millions and millions of dollars, that he's gotten through his hands and gone.
To me, it's a poster child for pursuing pleasure as a way to happiness is not the way to go.
And he's gotten off on so many crimes that they just let it go.
Well, and most of them are white collar or kind of victimless crimes.
Well, the gun-related crime where he threw the gun, he lied on the application.
He didn't shoot anybody. He didn't.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, armchair psychology is rebelling against his father, who was really, I think his father's committed far worse crimes than he ever did.
Yeah. Well, his father's behind a lot of Hunter's crimes. Apparently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the way it looked to me.
Yeah. It was a family business.
Yeah, and he says that repeatedly. He talks about, his father takes, half his.
Well, the big
salary,
guy gets 10%,
or a lot more in some cases. He was talking about.
Big guy always gets 10%. And how is it that with all that stuff going on, he doesn't have more? I mean, Joe or. Well, I don't know, or maybe there is, and we just don't see it.
Well, part of it might be in hidden accounts. That could be, but also. No matter how much money you make, you can always spend more than you make.
I've proven it.
Yeah, it's not hard to do. People say, "How could you ever spend more than if you have $100 million? How could you ever spend more money than that?" It's easy.
Research a little lottery winners and see how they are after 10 years.
That's exactly correct. That's a good example. Even people who win enormous amounts of money, they don't understand money. They don't understand how to manage money, and it's gone in a few years.
Very much so. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air, Gilbert.
I'm calling about a college in Michigan.
Okay.
Did you hear about the freshman grades will be shielded?
I heard
they
that.
Won't have to worry. Yeah, and it's to help freshmen with mental health and grades, so they don't have to worry about what type of grades they're getting.
To me, it's just part of this leftist denial of reality. We're not going to show you grades because you might get upset. Well, what's the point? I mean, the grades are not there to upset you. There is a measure of whether you learned.
Yeah.
You learned or how much you want to achieve in life.
Well, I mean, it's
like having an F and an F. Right? Back in the day, they were pushing that S for satisfactory and F for flunking. Those were the only two grades at one time, I believe.
Yeah, in some places, sure. I mean, it's sort of a pass-fail.
Yeah, pass-fail. Wow. Yeah. So
they're only doing it for the first semester, which still is a fallacy.
It's
a fallacy. It's terrible.
But, I mean, if you should do it for the first, why not the second, the third? Why not completely through?
That's coming, Dean. Don't rush it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say, Russ. You said the first semester. Okay, yeah. But then what happens later on? If it's working, let's do this for the second. It's a feel good.
It's program. A bad direction. It's just a first step in, and they're going to start it next year. as a pilot program, it says, and it says it will receive a pass, no credit mark, or external transcript instead of a traditional letter grade to reduce
Exactly.
student stress.
And what does that mean to anybody else? It means absolutely nothing.
It means they shouldn't be in
So-
class, is what it means.
I mean, if you're,
Hey, you're going to go to boot camp now, Dean. We're going to send you to boot camp, and you're going to have a pass or fail grade.
well, that already
That's
is pretty well true. I mean, you know, either you stay in or you get kicked out in a sense.
It won't even go onto their GPA the first semester.
Right.
First semester won't.
Yeah,
What the heck?
exactly.
It won't be counted.
That's a huge incentive not to work hard.
That's exactly where I'm going.
That's-
I'm not going to work
That's what I
hard.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
And one
remember
more
my
thing.
first semester in college. I worked really, really hard because everybody expected me and I wanted to do well.
Yeah.
And I did really well. Well, then after I had done well a couple of semesters, I started slacking off.
Right.
Well, I didn't go to college till I was 28 years old, something like that. And it didn't last very long because I couldn't deal with my professor,
Oh,
sociology professor on the political science.
I heard he
And
couldn't
all
deal
he
with
had
you.
to
Is
say-
what's wrong.
What's that?
I heard he couldn't deal with you was the problem.
Oh, that's true. That's
Okay.
true because I started questioning. This is what was said to me because I started questioning about him cussing. His
Oh.
whole thing was F this, F that,
Yeah.
MF this,
Yeah.
F the government, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to him now. I'm old school. Even at 28 years old, I was old school. I love my America,
Okay.
right? And I said, do you feel good that you're trying to impress these kids by the way you speak about our government and you're always throwing out the F-bomb? Does that make you feel good about yourself, how you're teaching these kids? He asked me for my name. I told him my name. And he said to me in a nice, smug way, Mr. Hernandez, I think you need to find another class. I believe you're not going to pass mine.
wow.
Yeah.
I think he gave you good advice.
He
I
did, but it
did.
revealed a lot about his
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And on a good note, before I leave, a woman created, now you got to realize this, a statue of Liberty with Doritos. They didn't say how many Doritos it took, but I just saw it on TV. And before I called you, she had made a Statue of Liberty with Doritos.
Well, it's
Oh, that's
kind
good.
of crafty, interesting in a weird way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doritos.
Yeah.
I mean, people do
Yeah.
things for all kinds of reasons, but Doritos are not very, durable.
No.
No, but they were good enough for the Statue of Liberty, 7 foot tall. Anyway, I thought I'd
Take a
just let you
picture
know
of it.
that.
I'd take a picture because the picture will last a lot longer than that statue.
Yeah. It's a waste
But
of
I thought
time.
I'd bring up about
It's not a waste.
It's
a waste of
She enjoyed it.
Doritos.
Well, we can. That's
Well,
debatable.
then again, Russ, I
Yes.
really believe this. You and I aren't supposed to eat Doritos anyway.
That is correct.
Well,
Mhm.
and I don't eat them
And you
because it's not part of the Mediterranean diet, which I'm trying out.
Well, but that not only that, there are stuff in there that I can't even pronounce. So why am I going to eat something that I can't pronounce the word that it's in it?
Well, might be good for you. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway.
That's
Anyway,
meant to be
have a good one,
humorous.
guys. Yep.
Thanks,
I
sir.
want to bring some humor to you later.
All right, man.
Now, I want to mention something I learned recently because I'm a big fan of Victor Davis Hanson.
You're still learning stuff.
He's
That's
a
good.
public intellectual. And what I learned was that when he was a graduate student, and he's a brilliant guy. I mean, and he was a brilliant graduate student, but he was abused by his advisor when he was a graduate.
He's told a lot of
student.
stories about that. Yeah.
And I'm going, wow. And you put up with it. Well, he did because that's what it took to get where he wanted to be.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And you do. You kind of work through it. And that's part of the test.
I guess. I mean,
we all work through some of it.
I don't think I'm going to go into my story about.
I didn't get into
stuff.
praise every administrator I had or every teacher I had. I didn't get praise.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
abuse is another thing,
Well,
in my
I
opinion.
received some of it.
Yeah.
Let's take a call from Mike again. Hello, Mike.
Hey, good morning again.
Yeah, man.
Hey, listen, one of the reasons you shouldn't eat Doritos is because the corn that's used for Doritos is GMO.
It is
Your
that.
body can't handle GMO.
Yeah. It doesn't set well with you on some people. Some people are very more, more prone to
That's not what
problems with it.
we-
Yes.
I wanted to call to change the
Subject?
flavor.
Okay.
It's up Dean's alley and your alley in terms of your expertises.
Okay.
And but I'll start it out with asking the question: was Rosie the Riveter a lesbian?
No. Not that I
How
know
do
of.
we know?
I've
How
never
would
heard of it.
anybody know? Did
I've-
she give an interview? It was politically verboten at the time.
I've never heard of it.
Well, I say no.
Okay.
You know, but that was at a time when we still had the moniker "Made in America," and "Made in America" was the best in the world.
Yep.
Now, when we look at today's feminist movement, and you look at a gaggle of women, it does always seem to be a gaggle of bull dyke lesbians.
I don't
know. Maybe
I don't
it's
think
hard to-
so. I mean, all the ones that were around the governor the other day signed the abortion bill were all clapping. They didn't look like lesbians. They look like,
What's a lesbian look like? I
Yeah.
mean,
well, an obvious lesbian.
well, there
Well,
are
short-haired.
there are stereotypes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stereotype. Yeah.
Gloria Steinem, Bella Abzug, they led
Yeah.
the feminist movement,
Uh-huh.
and they were, in fact, that. And I'm going to arc this over to women's basketball today, which,
Okay.
again,
Go ahead.
is what? A bunch of lesbians.
It's a
in
high
fact-
percentage. Yes.
I heard 30%.
That's what I've heard. 30%.
But the thing about it is you have women competing to do their best. And, seems like the lesbians are getting in their way of that in terms of the Olympic achievements and
How?
what the women basketball thing right now is
you're
at
saying-
the height of it.
But sexual preference doesn't mean you're not a woman.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think he's saying that the lesbians tend to be of a political persuasion.
Oh, you
that
mean
cause
they're
the
getting too much
problems.
attention? Or
No,
something?
they
What I'm
cause
saying
the
is that
problems
the
because the
lesbian movement has hijacked the women's achievement in America.
I
Sure.
agree with that.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
So-
they talk more about that than they do the real achievement. Yeah, correct.
So let's go back to the Pratt and Whitney engine.
Okay.
The Pratt and Whitney engine is the engine of the B-52 Stratus bomber.
Okay.
And to tell you the truth, that engine was the reason why we won the hearts and minds of the upper echelon of the Nazis, because somebody finally, the Nazis, against their arrogance of their manufacturing, took one of those engines that was crashed, and when they looked at it, they said to themselves, Germany could never achieve the precision of that engine,
Never heard that.
and
Okay.
so therefore they will not win this war.
well, it certainly wasn't from a crashed B-52
Why?
because B-52s didn't exist until after World War II.
Well, whatever the Stratoforce
Stratoforce was B-17.
Yeah. Okay.
B-17.
maybe that's it.
Yeah.
But it was the Pratt and Whitney engine, Dean.
Okay.
Well, and those I
okay.
think were pretty common. I think that they also had Rolls Royce. There were a
Well,
lot.
Rolls
of
Royce
good-
was in the P-51.
No, this thing,
Yeah.
this engine beat Rolls Royce.
Mm,
That's why they chose it. But the story goes as this: the military wanted 60,000 airplanes they thought to win that war. 60,000 airplanes. That bomber had 4 engines on that airplane, so it's 60,000 times 4.
yeah.
But when they started to build that engine, they were going for abject precision. They were talking about tolerances of 1/1000th. Is that possible?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Tolerances
Okay.
of 1,000th are not impossible, but as you get below that, it gets harder and harder. But we're getting better and better all the time.
Yeah, the tolerance getting better and better on all these cars because helps with efficiency.
But
And,
back then, you would have to say 1/1000th
was
of
a
tolerance
was a
was pretty
very
damn
tight
big.
tolerance back then.
Very big.
But here's the thing: the challenge was on that assembly line to have engine number 1 and engine number 60,000 had to be the same for interchanging of parts,
Sure.
and that was an amazing feat back then.
I think you're right.
And,
I think a lot of that
but here's the
happened
thing.
in World War II.
Yeah, I
Let's get
wasn't.
back
Yeah, it wasn't just that engine. It was lots of things.
But let's get back to, so the guys all had the fun to drive those fly those planes, and what was left was the women took over the workforce.
True.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my father bossed a gang of women building World War II armaments in Milwaukee.
Yep.
Yes, it was the women who were part of the what did Eisenhower call it?
Arsenal
The,
of Eisenhower industrial complex.
Yes, it was women who took over the manufacturing of that industrial complex that won that war. And you know,
they were
they
very
don't
important.
get the credit due them. They don't get the credit due them that Bella Abzug and Gloria Steinman has that hijacked the abilities of women to do. Nobody talks about that. They talk about that with a broad brush and okay, but that was a very significant thing when you want to talk about women accomplishment. To be able to take that engine with precision from engine number 1 to engine number 60,000.
Yeah.
There was no difference in the engines in terms of interchange.
Right. They were mass produced. They had to be the same.
They were very, very tight on. I mean, I don't know the story of that particular engine, but I do know that we did fantastic manufacturing during World War II. We out manufactured the rest of the world. I think we produced more aircraft than all the rest of the world combined, which was an incredible feat and one of the reasons we won the war.
Well, what I'm trying to get the point across, and I don't think I'm getting it across to you guys.
Well, what you're saying is that women were important, that they were a very important part of that. Sure. I think you're absolutely correct.
And you know, women aren't using that as the spearhead to their I guess competition in the world today.
Yeah, maybe it's not being used as much, but back in the 70s and 80s, when I recall reading about the women's and movement and such, almost all of the things I was reading said it was women's participation in the workforce during World War II that catapulted them into more prominence.
What do you mean they're not using it? They're not duplicating it, or they're not
bragging about it, maybe?
What are you talking to me?
Yes.
Russ, what is your question?
I said, what do you mean when women aren't using it? You mean they're not using it as far as a history like this where we're humming, or they're not duplicating it?
Do you not think that that's a great feat that the women contributed to society?
Of course.
Where right now these feminist movements are talking about women taking part in a contribution of society. They are using the idea of celebrity. They are using the idea of these of sports and blah blah blah, where women did have a very big part in the march of this country toward dominance.
Well,
and it doesn't get any.
Yeah, for our ability to win, they were very significant in World War II, no question. And like I said, decades ago, I recall people, when they're talking about women and the women's movement, would say that was an important part.
What would you suggest the women today do differently, Mike?
All I want to do is draw attention to that.
Okay.
Where now you have the failure of the feminist movement that is led by these lesbians, that is a failure that now men are saying they're women, and men are competing with these women. You have Bruce Jenner, who was who was called out as the epitome of courage to become whatever his new name is, Joyce Jenner or whatever. That was called courage. And Bruce Jenner, as a male, made the cover of Vogue magazine of Woman of the Year.
Yeah.
And you compare that garbage to Rosie the Riveter in World War II. That's all that did I not make the connection?
Yes, you have, and I appreciate the call, man. Thank you.
So, the other thing too is you as a pilot. Look at the Wright brothers. That was 1908, I think.
Sounds about right.
And you go from that great day, and again, that was American invention. To 1944 was the Pratt and Whitney engine made its debut.
Right.
It was like, well, how many? It was 30 years. We went from nothing.
It's crazy, phenomenal the growth.
And the acceleration technology today is even faster.
Let's get more crazy. From 1948 to 1950, the late 1950s, you had the U-2 and the SR-71.
Right.
Yep. Right.
And that was all within almost 50 years of the Wright brothers.
Yeah.
But but it hasn't stopped. The escalation has continued. It's crazy. The
what I'm saying is
SR 71 is nothing compared to the F-22.
But nobody's been able to duplicate the U-2 and the SR-71. First of all,
well,
no country has been able.
No other country has. They can't do the F-22 either.
Right. I think, and the SR-71 and has been made obsolescent by the orbital technology and satellites.
Of course. Yeah. Same with the U-2.
I'm just talking, Dean, about the march from
right. But what I'm saying is it's continuing. It's accelerating.
Absolutely. And yet you have, I'm going to an area I don't want to go, and yet you have the Democrats continuing to condemn this country as nothing.
I think that's a good comment. Yeah.
That's actually a great point, because I view this country as the most successful, the freest, the most prosperous country that has ever existed in the history of the planet. And we have this contingent of unhinged leftists who do not have a good grasp of reality, wanting to destroy it because they say they're not in charge, essentially. It's just bizarre.
And you know that I used a 13-year-old boy and a 13-year-old young girl. At that age, they're just getting into their own identity that they want to do something in life.
Right.
Well, yeah, they're adolescents.
Right. And one of the things that they can do that separates them and lets them be who they want to be is sports. And of the sports, it's the Olympics.
Oh.
And that's one place where, you are an individual in the Olympics. That's the amateurs. And a young girl has an opportunity, but to go down that lane, and that is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You don't get a second chance for very rarely do people
you age
get
out.
A second chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But to have a man dressed as a woman cancel your effort, that's where we are today.
Yep.
What?
You're right. You're absolutely right. No, you're right.
And we have and then we have to remind those 13-year-olds of what women's great contribution to this country.
I appreciate the call,
and that needs to be put out there.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. A lot of good points. But he's just restating what we're seeing in the WNBA right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I thought it's
and he's right. And the women want to explode in the WNBA right now, and they are exploding with the Caitlin Clarks and some of the talent, some of the stuff that's coming in there.
Right.
And there's always been talent. Don't get me wrong. There's always been talent there, but not talent that attracted the attention.
Right.
And they say it's because she's white. No, there's been other white players. There's just something about her teamwork, her sense of community, her
and her extreme talent too,
and her extreme talent, and her talent is a little different in that it's more intellectual and finesse than it is a physical presence of knocking others out of the way.
Yeah, okay.
And it's much more fun it's much more fun for me, and I think millions of others, to watch that amazement of you don't know what she's going to do next. And she gets overrun by, like Mike was talking about, some of the ones that want to get attention for being something other out of the ordinary. Like, I'm not a straight white woman. I'm a lesbian and I'm a minority, and I should get attention more because white privilege shouldn't count. It never has.
Yeah, that's kind of
it's about
a
talent.
wokish attitude.
Mike, you call back. What did I get wrong?
Yeah, let me comment on what you're just saying.
Yeah.
It's a woman. Caitlin Clark is a woman.
Yeah, she is.
I don't know the names of her opponents. They're women.
Yeah.
But they diminish that effort. They diminish that effort of women.
Yeah.
To race, to all this Marxist garbage.
Yeah.
Why can't you just sit and watch women play against women and enjoy that? But they want to. But they want to. They're destroying themselves by saying, "Well, is she a racist or is she a woman?" Which one is?
She's a woman. There's a lot of racists in the league that are women. She's not one of them.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of racists that are jealous of her because she's getting attention. She's getting fans. She says, "I'm going to sell a sneaker," and all of a sudden there's 2 million people in line to buy it. They sell a sneaker and they get a few aunts and uncles buy it.
But what I'm saying is the fact that it's the feminist movement that has hung themselves.
Well, I think you're correct.
Correct.
And there's a whole movement out there saying that this stage of feminism is counterproductive and is bad for women.
So that's what I want to say. She's not. It's not a racist. She's a woman.
Yes, correct.
And she's the best. She's the best in her genre of basketball, and it's enjoyable to watch. And they're wrecking that ability to watch that with this garbage. Now, here's the thing.
Go ahead.
The black girl lost her Nike shoes by her action.
Oh, Nike pulled her contract?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
Wow.
Dijonais?
Whatever that is.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Wow.
anyway.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Right.
I didn't know that. That's worth knowing.
Well, Caitlin, some of her charm and the reason she's so is she acts like a woman. She shows up early to events. She signs contracts. She does all. She's not a diva, and she doesn't say, "I'm a black woman. I'm a lesbian woman." She's just a woman, and
you're saying she acts like a reasonable person.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
She acts
right.
civilized.
Yeah.
She
doesn't have any issues that want to propel her, like I'm a victim or I'm a minority or anything. But her competitors that want to get noticed are saying, "Well, it's because you're white."
Right.
Which helps her self-esteem, I guess.
It's really bizarre because if you look at this definition of what acting white is, essentially it's Western civilization.
Maybe.
I mean, if you act within the mores of Western civilization that has advanced the world more than any other civilization in the history of the world,
then you're
acting white.
Well, according to some extremists, you're a minority.
Yeah,
I mean that you're evil or
you're evil. You're wrong.
A problem
and
and all that stuff.
Such a bizarre, destructive attitude.
Talk to Andy. What's up, Andy?
I love Caitlin Clark because she stood up and she took what was dished out to her, and then she finally said, "This is a bunch of BS."
Well,
she started acting like the rest of them, and then she started getting fouled less.
Well,
but
she got physical back. She joined. She went to the gym. She went to the gym. She muscled up, and it's the same thing that Michael Jordan did. She is absolutely following in his footsteps, because Michael Jordan had to muscle up because it was rough in the NBA when he came up, and they pounded him a little bit. So he went to the gym, got more muscular. Caitlin's done the same thing.
I've been keeping track of her, and she's still scoring the same.
No.
She's not running right. Oh, I'm running the whole thing. I'm going to shoot every shot. No, she's passing. She's doing bounce passes. She's doing overhead passes. It's a team sport, is what she said.
She is a team. She's about winning, not about personal records. She's about winning.
What she did was that one young lady. I can't remember her name. When she went to sign her contract for a shoe deal, She says, "No, I'm not going to do it unless you."
Sophie
put her in the
Cunningham.
contract."
Sophie
Sophie
Cunningham.
Cunningham.
Yeah.
And Sophie came out really strong, and she's a tough gal.
She's a black belt karate or something long before she became a basketball player. Yeah.
And I understand that, but she said, I'll protect you, you protect me. And that's how it worked out. And it turned out really good.
Right, yeah.
But let's get off of the subject, because everybody knows that we believe in Caitlin Clark because she is a basketball player.
Yeah.
And
I believed in Michael Jordan too. And you know what? He wasn't even a girl, let alone white. I don't know what any of that makes. Gender doesn't make a difference. Color doesn't make a difference. It's your character, buddy.
I'm not sure why you went there, but anyways.
Well, because I think the similarities are great, but yet no one ever called Michael Jordan privileged.
And she's not privileged. She's worked for everything she's got all of her life, and you understand that.
I do.
Okay, I took your advice.
Thank you, man.
I got on the phone for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Since I got off the phone last time and talked to you.
Yeah.
And I finally got a hold of the right person in Phoenix at ATF.
Okay.
And I told him everything I know, and she goes, "Oh my God." She says, and I gave her all the numbers, the addresses, and everything else, and every felony I knew about, and every misdemeanor that I know about. We know this person. You know him. He's one of my business partners.
Okay.
And he doesn't know I did this.
Well, it's kind of like not much of a secret anymore.
Okay.
Well, no, but he doesn't go YouTube to watch your show anymore.
Okay.
If we were on the radio and he was driving, he'd be listening to the show. I mean, he always did. He always loved the fact. I did the show years ago. That he said it was fun listening to YouTube banter back and forth about nothing, and nobody won. Which I won all the time, you know that.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Well, that's my self-admission that I was a loser too. But what I'm saying is I have someone that the investigation is now open into why the county let him off.
You may have just done a community a favor,
Yeah, you might have. I hope it works out.
And I look at it this way. Never be afraid to stand up, put your damn name on the line, because if you know what the truth is, it's the truth. And I'm not afraid of anybody anymore. The only person that can take me is Jesus. Well, his dad can take me anytime he wants. But my thing is that if you see something, say something. If you know something, broadcast it publicly and never be afraid to tell people what is going on around you, because this person needs to go away.
I applaud your efforts, my friend. I do.
You took the words out of my mouth.
He's not going to listen, but that's why I called him and asked Dean what he thought, and he reaffirmed what I said. And this lady that I talked to in Phoenix, she said straight up, it doesn't matter what the state does. The state is not in charge of federal law. If they broke federal law by not reporting it, and that's what got me when she said that.
Interesting.
Because it's supposed to report to the federal law, ATF, when someone is violated ATF law. But she said in the state of Arizona, it's the same thing. That's a law in the state of Arizona. She said, I don't understand why they did not charge him with these extra charges.
Well, they'll look into it. Let me know what happened in a few days. We'll find out, I'm sure.
If I'm still alive, I'll let you know, buddy. Bye.
I appreciate it. Hope he is.
That's an interesting report.
That's good for Andy. Something that Mike stated on the Pratt and Whitney
motor.
I know the Pratt and Whitney motor. Obviously, it's powerful. I've gone to the Phoenix air races, and I forget the aircraft that flies the Pratt and Whitney, single engine Pratt and Whitney, but it's amazing. It's a radial engine,
right? And there's quite a variety of them. It isn't just one engine. Pratt and Whitney made a lot of different kinds of engines.
I didn't know that. I know they made the radial. I didn't know that.
I think they made well, for one thing, I think they made the radial in different sizes.
Yes, they did. And it was the P-47 Thunderbolt that they put it on. That they raced at Reno a lot.
Yeah, okay.
They raced
Yeah,
that a
well,
lot.
that was a fighter plane.
I was invited into the pits at the at one of the P-47 crews because I worked at I owned Napa stores at the time, and Napa was kind of a sponsor. One of
Yeah,
the
okay. Very
Champion
interesting.
Spark Plugs was a sponsor, so I was in the pits, and I got to actually wrench on a P-47 and took all the spark plugs out
Wow.
when it came in. I forget how many. It was like 40, 50 spark plugs.
Well, 2 for every cylinder.
You know, there's like, and that's is it? Yeah, it's two per cylinder, and there's got to be like 24 cylinders, so it's 48.
Yeah, all radial all around.
48. 48 of those things, I think.
Whew.
But anyway, amazing engine, amazing sound when they run, especially in the races and all that kind of stuff. But I asked AI because Mike mentioned it was the best aircraft engine
That's what
in World War II.
Kind of said that, yeah.
So I asked AI, what was the best aircraft engine in World War II? And they came up with 2. I thought it would be the Rolls-Royce.
Yeah, that was my first
And that would that's what's in the P-51, and that's what made the P-51. The P-51 did not do well until they put the Rolls-Royce in it, and then it became nothing anybody could beat.
Okay, so
So I just wanted to mention they mentioned the Rolls-Royce V12 and the Pratt & Whitney R28 Double Wasp, which both wonderful engines. He was right.
well,
It started at under 1,000 horsepower. It was 2,000 horsepower by 1945.
yeah, they kept
so
making improvements.
probably made it,
And they
bigger.
did it in a lot of different things. I mean, there were a lot more aircraft engines than those 2, but those are, yeah. AI says those 2 were the best.
I believe it was, and they built over 125,000.
Wow. It's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's heavy lifting. It says.
I wonder if there's any, there obviously are still some in service.
They're still flying them.
Yeah.
There's still B-17s that are flyable.
Well, that's true, but there's generally better planes than the World War II planes now.
Correct. But I don't know that any of them put the Pratt & Whitney radials on them.
Don't know. I mean,
I know the
so
P-47, they race them a lot at Reno.
Wow. I mean, just watching a little bit of footage from a race, and I'm going, wow, I would never do that. I mean, they go around these pylons, and they're not that far off the ground. And
and while I was
wow,
while I was in Reno, I saw a couple crashes, and one of them ended up being a fatality, which is not common. But man, going that fast and all that, it doesn't take much.
So low, and so I mean, it's better to be fast and low, or low and fast, than it is to be low and slow.
It is amazing to be a spectator at those things. They are fun to watch a lot. It's scary.
Yeah,
it's scary. A lot of experimental planes out there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of home built garage planes that they put together and pull out there, and they're tremendously fast. But but if it breaks,
yeah, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, you're not good. It's not good. The deadly outbreak right now, deadly disease, Ebola is back currently in the Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, not here. And it's the death toll has surpassed 2,000 people right now. And I guess we've heard of Ebola many times. It's cropped up.
Well, it's very nasty and it's very high fatality rate.
Yeah, the fatality rate is nothing like. I mean, COVID was a joke. It was not the fatality rate.
It was, it's roughly the same sort of fatality rate as a bad flu.
Yes, and we don't realize how many deaths the flu results in.
Right. I mean, everything was so mixed up, and
yeah, we don't talk about the deaths of the flu. We talk about the deaths of COVID, and we exaggerated them.
Well, and they were commingled during that period, in my opinion.
Yeah, you die of a car accident. It's COVID. That did happen, by the way.
Sure. Yeah.
They're saying that this outbreak, we need not be worried, which makes me worry. They say the average person does not need to worry here in the United States. The transmission requires close physical contact of body fluids.
Yeah,
that's how you get Ebola.
That's
unlike
COVID,
which is the coronavirus that you get not common cold.
It was aerosol transmitted.
Yeah, and this is physical contact. It doesn't travel across the air and across a room, so we're not gonna.
So far, thank goodness.
Now, in 2014, and when West Africa had the big breakout, there was 28,000 people. It infected 28,000 people. but only 4 cases were ever diagnosed in the United States. Now all of them
Yeah.
contacted it over there, and they got here.
Right.
I remember those, and
It was a
and
big
out of
deal.
those, I think 2 to 3 of them lived. I know one man died, and they complained because he was black that he didn't get the same care. Which I
Well,
don't know if that's true.
my understanding is if you got this Ebola and you had first class, first world medical care right from the start,
Yeah.
you had a chance. You might survive.
Right, but it's very deadly.
Yeah.
It's nothing to take lightly. And they're saying that we have much better healthcare systems and hygiene. And all
Right.
that.
Exactly.
Where it is in Africa is actually they're worried about it because it's a bigger population, and it's also a population that's hard to get to. It doesn't have,
And they're not well versed in,
no,
proper, what we would call proper
it's
preventive procedures and
No.
understanding how the disease is and what it is and how it works. It's a very bad situation.
It's in a populace, but it's in still rural areas, but hundreds of thousands of people out
and
there.
kind of remote, hard to get to.
Yep. And with 2000, they call it a perfect storm of adverse conditions.
Right.
Dense population and limited access, complicated effort to deliver medical care, or even to track contacts and establish quarantine protocols. Conflicts, and I've heard that about some
Well,
of the.
as I recall, there were a couple of places where they were trying to segregate patients, and a lot of them dying and very bad, and their relatives stormed in.
Yeah.
And destroyed the places and took their, said, you got to give us back our dead relatives.
Right.
And which, of course,
That's
tends
not
to
good.
spread disease.
So it's not good.
Right.
And we hope it doesn't spread here. And the ones I think that in 2014, when he came back to the United States, they were people obviously that were over there,
Right.
medical people that came back and brought it with them. Unfortunately, it didn't spread in the United States. I think the only ones infected were those that brought it in themselves.
Right. I mean, but there was concern because it tends to infect people who are trying to help those who have the disease.
Researchers actually evaluating new treatment, vaccine candidates, and stuff like that. So the work, but this Ebola's been around for decades. They haven't come up with a vaccine, to my knowledge.
No. And it's tough stuff to work with when you're talking with a very deadly disease.
Yeah.
You have to be very, very careful. You
Maybe
don't want to infect yourself or others.
Maybe they should put it out there in the Wuhan lab and see if they could work with it.
Yeah, well, obviously they've had such a great reputation.
They could mutate it, maybe make it worse.
Oh man, people are probably looking at that. It's an obvious something that you might consider for a biological weapon.
I hate that you even say that. I mean, it's obvious that's probably true. That's terrible.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
It is, but it's so deadly, and
it's not what we need.
I mean, I could see some researcher. This is nothing that I don't think I'm giving anybody ideas to. Trying to make a variant that was spread by aerosols.
Well, right now
it takes bodily contact.
Yeah, it does.
But how hard would it be to put in the correct some genes that make it survive in an aerosol for
unfortunately I think probably labs like Wuhan have the capability, and who knows?
I think that's out there. Whether or not
but before you do
Russia
that,
would be doing that, or
they might be working on an
North
antidote.
Korea or whatever. Yeah. Well, you see, that's one of the problems with biological weapons. Is if you aren't careful, it kills off as many of your own people as other people.
Yeah. Iran is still going on. Obviously, we still have a disconnect on agreement of anything, and they're as arrogant as ever. They act like they're winning this thing, and that's because they feel like our definition of winning, we are winning in our definition.
Sure, their definition
we're surviving.
As long as we're alive, we're winning.
We're winning
because Allah will make sure we win.
You haven't killed me yet, so I'm winning.
Right.
Regardless.
So
they maintain they still have 75% of all its missiles and drone capabilities. I think that's a lie.
I think so, but they lie a lot.
I have nothing to base it on. I haven't been over there, except video of what I've seen, and
yes,
and my trust in the U.S. government to locate and route out,
and the Israelis, and the Israelis.
The Iranian Army Deputy Commander for Executive Affairs, Brigadier General Sheikh told Iran's state-run news agency that the IRNA and U.S. and Israeli strikes have not been effective in the as U.S. claims. It's not effective. You haven't hurt me yet.
Well,
And that's kind of like, wow.
it all depends on the definition of what is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you have a lot of man-portable anti-aircraft missiles, let's say you have 100,000 of them, and you only have 10,000 missiles that can effectively reach out beyond your borders, and 95% of that 10,000 have been done away with, well, you still have
I
105,000
know.
missiles, but most of them can't reach behind your borders.
You know how the military has said that they devastated the enemy. Well, if you look up devastation in military terms, I think it was like 10%. If you destroy 10%, it's devastating. And
The definitions become important, and of course that's all part of propaganda effort. But what I recall we have been trying to do from the start is to degrade and destroy Iran's ability to exert force beyond their borders. And I think that's been fairly successful.
Donald Trump says that we know their drones are, we know where they are, and we know where their drone factories are. Most of the drone factories have been knocked out. Most of the missile manufacturing areas have been knocked out. And they have some missiles, they have some drones, maybe 21, 22% of their missiles are left. You know, he's using the number 20, 22 left. And that, I would guess that might be accurate. I would guess that's more accurate than 75%.
I suspect so. And again, what do you define as a missile? Is an RPG a missile? Well, it's a rocket-powered grenade.
I think they're talking ballistics. And,
well, I'm not so sure. I mean, if you're trying to make a propaganda point, you're not exactly so certain on the definitions.
I was going to say that right now they're worried about the stuff that's hitting the U.S. bases.
US,
and hitting,
yes, the U.S. numbers are probably, but is the Iranian general using that definition?
I have no idea.
I wouldn't think so.
I have no idea, but RPGs really haven't come into play because we haven't been close enough to have an RPG.
Exactly.
In play, and that's a small arms.
It is.
You know, really.
It's something. One soldier carries it and a few extra missiles with them, or rocket propelled grenades.
But those are
it's a very effective short range, personal, individual weapon.
It's a mile or less, right?
Oh, much less. I mean, we're talking about the effective range is probably a couple hundred yards.
Okay, and so who knows what they're talking? I think Iran would love to have us invade, like, and make it another Vietnam or Pakistan, or
I think that they would prefer
Afghanistan. I'm sorry, Afghanistan or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
They keep inviting us, and Trump, I think, rightly doesn't.
Right.
He doesn't want to get involved in
doesn't take the bait on that
long-term.
The question is can we degrade Iran's ability to project force beyond its borders?
Well,
and can we do it well enough that the Strait of Hormuz remains open?
I think we can. I think the question is, does United States voters have the patience?
Yeah, that's a question.
Don't know. But I like this approach a lot more than ground invasion.
I agree.
And it's cutting off, it's cutting off supplies. It's cutting off things that are going into the country effectively. And their ability to produce has got to be down to nearly zero.
Right.
And
I agree.
Not just from the bombings, but from the blockades.
They're not getting much material in. There's always going to be some leakage.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. We'll see what happens. I had hoped we would be able to wrap things up faster.
Everybody did, and including Trump. Had hoped. Venezuela was crazy when you wrap it up in 2 hours. And maybe they expected similar success.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to know.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was an opportunity where you had all these leaders who, have vowed death to America for decades.
And they don't fear death. They don't fear the death of their countrymen. They don't care about their people.
Yeah.
So how do you threaten them? You don't, because they're
You can only, you basically have your only choice is to kill those who oppose you and who
Unfortunately.
threaten you with violence or harm.
Unfortunately. Reopening the Strait of Hormuz hasn't happened. Well, Mike Dovey's called. Mike, what's up, man?
Hey, man. You need to read General Giap's memoirs.
Okay.
Oh, from
General
Vietnam.
Giap. Yes, General Giap said that they lost that war right after Tet. They were beat. If it wasn't for Walter Cronkite,
Yep.
which is the mainstream media, and Jane Fonda.
Right.
So when you're talking about Iran is empowered by the mainstream media.
They're allies.
Fail.
Yeah, a lot of the U.S. Media are essentially allies of Iran.
They want Trump to fail. Now let's compare it to Venezuela. Well, Venezuela never got the $10 billion from Barack Obama, did they?
I don't think so.
I think
no,
you're
they
right.
did not.
Yeah, but Iran did.
What we're dealing with right now, and the methodology that Trump is using, please give him 100%, 110% credit. Stop using all this mainstream media jargon and definitions.
What's strange? What am I using for mainstream media?
You're repeating their narrative.
What is that?
We are winning in that war, and we will win that war. The problem is that Iran knows by the mainstream media he's only got 80 more days until the midterm.
Right.
But let me just say this: what if he wins the midterms?
Yeah, I think that's very likely. I don't know, likely, but plausible that we can win.
What if he wins the midterms, Democrats? Yeah.
Well, then they're in bad shape.
Nothing changes.
Oh,
and
I
disagree.
We
can do whatever the hell we want.
Right.
And then you put boots on the ground and go through that place like a hot knife through butter.
I still disagree with putting boots on the ground, but his options are much wider.
Do you really think boots on the ground are the right thing to do?
I believe so. Okay. I do believe that.
All right.
And here's the other thing. What the difference between your point of view and my point of view, of course, but this is a volunteer army. Yeah. They want to fight for this man. They want to fight under this man, and they know this man will not take their deaths for granted.
Correct.
Look at what Schwarzkopf did with Kuwait. Man, we hit that place like a hot knife through butter.
Yep.
And that's the same thing that's going to... What Iranian mullahs are going to stand up against our Marines?
Well, none. Person for person, our Marines are tons better. But how many thousands do they have, and how many thousands do we have to throw in after them is the question.
We're going to kill them all.
Okay.
Well,
doesn't matter.
It sounds
We're
easy.
Kill them.
It sounds easy, and maybe that's what the plan was in Afghanistan. It just didn't work out.
And that is the thing. That is the thing that they're hoping on. They're hoping on the majority of America. These are our soldiers. They're volunteers, and they want to fight.
Yeah. Okay.
And the thing about it is, they're fighting under a guy that knows how to use this army.
Yep.
This is not going to be. This is not going to be Vietnam. This is not going to be, because he doesn't fight that way. No. Now, when you start comparing Iran to Vietnam, then you have to understand these two definitions: the American economic system and the British Royal economic system. And when you understand those two definitions, you can't say Iran is going to be like Vietnam, because it's a different world, baby. It's a different world.
I think you're right. I don't think we'd fight like Vietnam again, but I don't know what would happen if a Democrat gets back in place, and maybe it goes right back to that stupid stuff. You know?
That's
look what Biden did.
But if Trump wins, put them boys online and move from the East Coast, from the West Coast to the East Coast. And the people in Iran want to get rid of these people. They want us there.
A large number of them do.
And that's what we believe. And But I think I don't think Trump wants boots on the ground. I think Trump wants to win by crushing them just economically. They can't move. We'll
I think
see.
he's gonna. What he's doing is, he can't put boots on the ground before the midterms anyway. He can't do that. That would be just stupid.
I don't
and
think
playing
I
into
don't
the
think
hands
that's
of
his.
the-
I don't think that's his plan anyway.
But he is softening them. He's softening that target so much that boots on the ground is going to be a kindergarten playground game.
Well, we got
It's gonna be
Japan to
like playing
surrender.
dodgeball.
Japan surrendered without any boots on the ground.
Now let me say something about this Ebola.
What's up?
And Dean, you're right. You don't like to use the word weaponization, so you use the what's the term Fauci uses? Gain of function.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
the gain of function, Dean, is called Marburg disease, and the Russians tried that. And what Marburg was weaponizing Ebola. That was the most dangerous human invented biological was Marburg.
Never heard
And
of it.
guess what? God is so funny with his poetry. The guy who invented it injected himself by accident and died by it in about half an hour. He turned to a puddle of blood on the ground. Now, the thing about why is there an outbreak right now in the Congo? What used to be called the Congo? Because the African people eat monkey meat. That's where you get Ebola, from monkey meat.
That's
And how do you prevent getting Ebola? Wash your freaking hands.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
that's a large
And the
part of
reason
it.
why
Yeah.
the reason why there was that outbreak in 2014, and then the other one prior to that was around 2000, is because the Africans hospitals were using and reusing utensils and needles.
Yeah,
That's why.
that's
they couldn't
one of the
control it.
reasons. Yeah.
But there are several books written about what happened there, and they all end with the same last paragraph. They wish they had more soap.
Ah,
So let me ask you a question.
Shoot.
How hard is it to make soap? All of these scientists, all of these Oxford scientists, they don't know how to make soap
I think
because
we
that's
could
what
figure
they
it
ended
out.
up blaming it on.
I think they could.
And that guy who came in from Texas,
Mhm.
from Africa, I'm going to say it, but you guys aren't going to believe me. That was a plant. Barack Obama wanted that to happen here. Barack Obama wanted America to feel what the Congo was going through. That man got on that plane that he shouldn't have.
Possibly.
He had bloodshot eyes that were more bloodshot than marijuana. He was sweating profusely. And they should never have let him in. They let him on that airplane and they landed him in Texas in order for that. The good thing somebody was wise enough to pull him off, but he should have never got on that plane. The question you got to ask, why was he allowed to get on that plane to come to America?
Don't know.
Ebola does not exist in this country. Ebola does not exist outside of Congo. It's because they eat monkey meat. That's why.
Sounds simple to cure.
got-
then.
well, and
All
they
right.
don't have good sanitation facilities
And good sanitation.
and they don't have soap in most of those places. Right.
I never heard that, but thank you, sir.
Our forefathers, when we came here, did they have soap? They
Yeah,
made
They
soap.
made soap. Yeah.
So you have Oxford educated dimwits that don't know how to make soap.
I think they do, but yeah, I would give them that. Mike,
A little bit of Hex and iodine, and you defeated that thing.
I think they use
That's all
soap
it
every
is.
day. They know. I got to run, my friend. Thanks. And that pretty much wraps us up, Dean.
Yeah.
I don't even get to go any farther. Let me see. I wanted to
See,
talk
you
about.
didn't even get through your show prep.
No, I didn't, and I was way behind because I had printer problems. But
See, it worked out just fine.
it always does. We always figure out a way. Well, with that, I'm just gonna go.
All right.
I appreciate you. Thanks so much for coming in. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a happy Wednesday. This is Russ Clark at where are we? Mortgage One Studios.